Welcome live here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It is the Road America 500 here on iRacing Live and RaceSpotTV for the Kamel GT series, your brand spanking new GTP and GTO machines running around this amazing classic Road America course. I'm Cameron Walsh, that's Jake Sperry. We're gonna have Paul Smith with us behind the controls, and we're gonna be bringing you all of the action here today from Road America. We'll be right back just after these few moments. We'll be right, and we'll see where everyone lies. Road America, one of the fabled lands in the, as far as motorsport is concerned, one of the fabled and historic grounds of American road racing, is paying home here today to the IMSA Kamel GT series here on iRacing. It's myself, Cam Walsh, that's Jake Sperry, as Paul Smith, bringing you live coverage today of the Road America 500, live on iRacing Live and RaceSpotTV. Yes, it is going to be our GTP cars, your Nissan, and your GTO cars, your Audi 90 GTO. So either way, we'll get right into it. But Jake, I gotta say, it's been a pretty long time since I've seen this on the schedule. I've been excited for it, and it is finally here.
Yes, certainly when we got the schedule, it was earmarked Cam Walsh's and nobody else's, and who can blame you? Road America, 500 kilometers, 78 laps of racing, and all the strategy games and ploys that will be here up and down. 4 splits worth of action, 47 vehicles here today, Cam, looking to take this grid, 23 of them in your GTP, 24 of them in your GTO, and up and down this field, we have drivers from past, present, and hopefully the future as well. We have a stacked field.
Yeah, absolutely stacked indeed. It was actually tough to get into this. High level of iRating to get into this very top split. 4 splits in total between the entirety of the iRacing community. As the look at the weather and the track right now, of course, Road America doesn't need any introduction. 78 degrees outside in the air right now, but it's 103 on the track surface. Barely any winds with a little bit of humidity. But yes, Road America, of course, one of the very fabled and legendary tracks, as we've said so far. 14 corners in exactly to the foot, 4 miles in length. But either way, though, Jake, how these cars traverse these 4 miles, it's so very different between the 2 classes of cars we have on the schedule for today.
Yes, it certainly is. You talk about that Nissan and how it's going to have to navigate around. It's a lot quicker. It punches a hole through the air slow. Well, not necessarily slow, but it's low and sleek, and it just knows what to do. All you got to do, though, is avoid first gear in that vehicle, Cam, and you get yourself safe for this track. And one of the good things about this circuit is the fact that it doesn't necessarily have any slow corners. It's very much the 90-degree rights and lefts that makes it a huge challenge. That's going to be very useful for these Nissans here today. For the Audis, it's going to be about how you control so much power, and under braking, it is an absolute nightmare, but it does make one of the greatest sounds in racing of all time, Cam.
absolutely. That whistle from the turbo and the wastegates and all the other mechanical bits on these machines. It's really exciting just to watch these vehicles. Many people might not know of this era of sports cars, of course. It's Group C in the purest of sense, but you know what? They took the Group C formula. Everyone sat around a table in the 80s, whenever that was, and they sat around and went, you know what? Group C is cool and all, but it's a fuel strategy type series. It's you're building your car and you're just running to your fuel numbers. Why don't we just take the fuel out, the engine out, the consumption issues out, and let them do whatever with these chassis? And that is where this Kamel series really came from. And after a couple of years, in the late 80s, very early 90s, these cars were absolute barn burners. And this Nissan GTP that is in here on the docket for today, Jake, it's an extremely fast car. These cars can go around any circuit on the schedule just as fast as any modern day prototype, even though it's some 30 years old.
Exactly, and it was one of the pioneers of racing that we saw all throughout the ages. And well, now that we have them brought back, there are teams up and down that want to make their name on what is going to be the newest World Tour event and how to make a name. Hoyt-Core Motorsports, you talk about Vendaval, you talk about the likes of Dream Factory, who were second in the 24 Hours of Spa, real championship team, Hoyt-Core GT Ross, keep on going. Mad Cow's got a car in the form of Muriel. You talk about Sim RC and Evolution Racing Team, and you even look down into your Audis, you got teams looking like Supersport, like Joni Takinen of Kawan Simsport, MSP want to go, and all up and down this grid, it is all stacked up. But Cam, it's more important than a grid. It's more important about how they're going to line up today.
Absolutely is. Warm-up is just about to expire in about 20 seconds or so. A couple of cars are still practicing their pit entries. And before we just settle onto that grid, well, you know what? Let's settle on the grid then, as we'll talk about our Audi and intro it as we get to them. But either way, yes, 1 minute 49.8 seconds is going to go to the Hoyt-Core Motorsports machine of, well, who'd have thunk, Kei Kashubi. As well, well, it's just him as far as in that car so far. The Stars and Stripes car, that is going to be starting in the second position. That will be, I believe, Keith Ritchie piloted machine. Then you got another Hoyt-Core Motorsports machine. That's the 66. That one's going to be piloted by Alexander Walsh. The number 1 car for today, the Vendaval Sim Racing without any color. Well, that's, I have to say, Jake, it's interesting that they don't seem to have a color, but I'm pretty sure in absence of color is at the end of the day just white. Juan E. Lopez, Matty Cotty Soja, Fabrice Cornelius are going to be piloting the Vendaval Sim Racing without any colors machine. Frederick Evers, Best Team Evers Racing, it will be starting in 5th. Linuoloto Racing will start in 6th. Dream Factory in 7th. INX Racing's 144 and 8th. Pit Demons will start in 9th. G-Tross SST Orange will begin the race in the 10th position. Team Heisenfeld, the 78, will start in the 11th position. A real championship number 13, because there's only fake championships outside of that car, piloted by Joan Caroni so far. But Team Chimera, that's your Joshua Chin, and I believe it is Wilson as well in that car, and starting 13th as the car is going to roll around full circuit, so we've got plenty of time. Hoyt-Core Motorsports will have another machine in the 14th position. Gathering of Tweakers, 15th. Team GT Fumo in the 16th. Team Bushfink Racing Red, 17th. Mad Cows Racing's Muriel will start in 18th. SimRC.de Crimson in 19th. Petronas Racing Team, 20th. Then you've got a couple of SimRC cars and a Evolution Racing Team car to finish it out. The SimRC Camel Toe car, the Evolution Racing Team 226, and then the SimRC Cucumber car. And then you get to these Audis. And Jake, the Audis, super quick, super powerful. These cars will be going down the straight just as fast as these Nissans. And the grid, it's going to be with you as we're looking to just start getting away here at Road America, starting on our patrol lap.
Yes, we certainly are, and it's the Camellaiano team who is at the front of the field, and that is filled of ex-Glacier drivers like Joni Hagner up involved with that, MSP Phoenix Racing, and then you got the Audi Sport Team Gebrautwagen Plus machine. That's got Koen Klopman behind the wheel with him. Team Joni Takinen should be a Kawanda car, as Joni Takinen has just made that switch, that jump over to VRS Commander Simsport. So Joni, eyes on him. MSP Phoenix Racing 52. Then you got the likes of Joyful Underseer, Super Sport Racing, Team Gyro Via, Playing Ducks Racing, Mythcom 3 in play today. Pray for Pablo, Bob Van Catchvike, got Team Bear Pope, Redface Racing Solo, and then you look down even further, position 37, you got the 23 pit teams, Delta iRacing Team, Team Highball looking to play some highball strategy, maybe V Apex Racing Group Purple, Hellenic Racing, BTRS Team Galicia there, Team 10 in 43, so they need an extra 10 and a 3 on that. Team Talk Freak Racing Flatsharsh there with MXS Racing Team 76, Revolution Racing Cam, and SR Racing at the very back of this 47 car field.
Yes, 47 full racing machines, kitted out, lined up, ready to rock and roll as the Heisenfeld Core Motorsports cars just going under that Speedville Bridge. We're following behind the roof pace car that we have here, the iRacing.com official pace car as compared to an unofficial pace car. But either way, though, Jake, these cars are going to be rip-roaring in here. I love the classic paint scheme Heisenfeld's brought. You can really tell they looked over a lot of the classic prototypes that we've seen over the decades, but this era, people just seem to love it. They seem to hold it, and we're happy to bring it to these guys here today as they seem to be rounding around. Corners number 11, that's the kink right there that they're going to be taking. Obviously a heck of a lot faster than I believe the 60 miles an hour the pace car is going as we're going to head towards Canada. We've got another 3 corners, and then we'll get underway racing green here. But either way, I think, Jake, the big thing, lap differences. 149s and 150s from your GTP, 205s from your Audis.
Yeah, you do expect them to slow down, but what you will understand is that when they get to the lap traffic, it's going to be a massive difficulty dealing with them in bulk, and it will take a level head to get yourselves around. These are very wide vehicles, especially at the front in your GTP division here, Cam, but all the best, 78 laps. It's going to be an absolute thrill ride.
Absolutely. In 1955, Cliff Tuft started what is now known as Road America, and the configuration's changed very little in the past 60 years. And we're going to see it rip-roaring once again. We've got these amazing prototype machines. We've got great GT cars, and it's going to come to you live. Kate Kashubi, let's it go. And we are live here in the Road America 500 on iRacing Live and RaceSpotTV. Kate Kashubi, he had the jump, but the rest of the field closes in quickly as the prototypes are off and away, heading into corner number 1.
What a great jump that was from Hoiksingveld Core Motorsports. They managed to coordinate that brilliantly. Side by side for P2. Voss versus Richie. Richie's the poster boy here of Nissans. And, well, he's going to drop back into position number 3. Contact. And he's going to get hit up the rear. And already a massive, massive incident. Let's get these Nissans going up in 6s and 7s.
Yeah, the Audis have gotten away cleanly, and they will have to pick through this massive incident here of Nissans. Not what you wanted to see. I think Keith Ritchie ended up going door to door with Wani Lopez. Wani Lopez very quick to go on the docket, and that has involved at least 4 or 5 of the front-end prototype machines, as it's one of those wrecks that sort of never left the road surface, as we're going to get a replay of this incident. But either way, Jake, not the way we wanted to start this thing, with a very large incident that was very unnecessary.
Yes, and it's very difficult in the early stages. Cold tyres, you're always looking to try and work out where the element of grip is, and already a major incident has taken out 4 or 5 key players in this event. But what it does do, it allows the 1-2 of Hoiksingveld to break away. Kashubi and Voss here looking to work together to break away. They still have Wani Lopez and Marcus Hamilton, who are no slouches of their own at the moment, and especially as you look further back in towards your GTO division right now, it is going to be the driver of Joni Hagner at the front, Klopman second, Jedstad third, Takinen fourth. What a stacked field.
Well, it's stacked indeed, though the prototypes have now been skewed to thunder, as Kei Kashubi will go past the start-finish line for the very first time for this. It should be about 2.5 hour, maybe 2 hour 45-minute race. It's 78 laps as Kei Kashubi starts, as Alexander Foch is now in second. And Wani Lopez, well, he got away with that one. He really pushed it to the inside on the exit of corner number 2 on Keith Ritchie. Keith Ritchie was not anticipating him at all to be there. and Juani Lopez ended up parking that car to the inside, nudging him, and started that chain reaction incident, which has really thrown. I already see 4 cars that are already off the field just like that.
Yeah, Dream Factory, Linaloto Racing, Stars and Stripes, all there struggling in the early goings. And, well, it's just a case there, Cam, as we see what happened on replay. It was a case of trying to throw yourself down to the inside, but on lap 1, you need to be calm. It is a 78-lap race. You do have time in this event to make positions one up after another. And one of the key names here that is a regular consistently in terms of this style of racing in Kamel GT, well, it's game over very early on, and it means that it's going to be one of the regulars, you'd feel, that will have the best possible advantage here in what is going to be the 500 here at Road America.
Yeah, very unfortunate to see that. I mean, this is going to be a long race. These cars are going to come down the pits as we're looking now at the Audis as they've gotten away. Joni Hagner, he has gotten his space that he needs, but Cohen Klotman in that Audi Sport Team Gebrauchtwagen Plus, or however German pronounces that, which is getting pursued by another of the Lucas Jestock MSP Phoenix racing cars. So no surprise there that more of these European guys, the DH club and the Benelux club, are very quick in this Audi, Jake, as they're running around the carousel now for the first time. They've managed to get themselves in single file very quickly and begin their duels.
Yes, they have, and this battle for P2 going on. Lucas Jestock of MSP Phoenix Racing, arguably their star man, against Koen Klotman. Normally you see him in Vendaval colours, but not here today, and he is one of the greatest all-rounders in sim racing at the moment as they now head themselves into Canada corner. Bill Mitchell bend, then turn 13 out on circuit, looking to make this move, but not close enough, about trying to sit as well as you can on the rear and just hope that something can happen. Well, for Klotman, it's a case of defending the wide line taken there by Jestock. He missed the apex slightly. That's going to affect him on the run up the hill towards turn number 1. And now Takkanen sitting in the catbird seat.
Yeah, and as they're starting their way towards the start-finish line, of course, a very, very long uphill, then downhill run into corner number 1 as Hagner, he has got it's about, what do we got? About maybe a 1.5 second gap between him and Cohen Klotman. And then you go back to Takkanen and Ovi Trengari. I'm going to go with the joyful understeer car, as a couple of purple machines they seem to have had that gap, Jake, between themselves and the rest of the Audi field, as I'm already seeing a couple of two-eyed action from Team Highball, which is a very, very exciting team name. We've got a lot of good team names here, Jake, as they barrel their way down towards the corner number 4.
Yes, they're looking to get past Redface Racing solo, and they have done. Then down on the brakes. Vehicle running a little bit wide, actually was Highball there, as now Redface will make its way through, and now Team Gyro Via looks to go down to the inside and makes it, and they all start to check up a little bit there in the middle. Once one vehicle starts going a little bit slower, the other one will check up, the other one will check up, the other one will check up. So they've all got to be careful about the way that they start battling here in this middle of the pack. Very, very close, very different to the likes of what you're seeing in the GTP at the moment, where you have your leaders split at the moment, the top 3 split by 3.1 seconds, with a gap in between pretty much every single one of them at this stage at the moment. The closest back in GTP is Team GT Fumo, with the team of, with the driver even, shall I say, of Michele Ricci, and also the driver of Benjamin Perez behind in the team Bushfink Racing Red. This battle going on, P10, P11 on road.
Yeah, and of course, well, somebody's one Nissan just went for a spin. That's Joshua Chin, the Team Chimera car, as, well, that's unfortunate. They're going to lose 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 positions. Again, this is one of the longest straights going down towards corner number 5, as I misappropriated that as number 4, but that is indeed number 5. As the Mad Cow Racing Muriel car looks to go to the inside there. He should have an underbraking. No, he will not. But yeah, that Chimera car, not going to be happy with that to the start of this. The prototype cars seem to have gotten away very, very poorly. Obviously, after that incident, everything got split up. But going towards corner number 1 is the 41 car of Tony Takkanen, Joni Takkanen. He is now fighting with Cohen Klotman, and they've actually just banged quarter panels, and Takkanen has now slid back a couple of positions and has given a position, Jake, to the joyful understeer Audi.
Yes, and the joyful understeer Audi there. The Finnish driver lets the Norwegian one through then of Ovi Trengaride right now. And, well, he'll look to try and battle for position number 3 now as Lucas Jestock breaks clear of Klotman. And well, for Joni Takkanen, he's a driver touted with a lot of success for the future. Very good inside GT3. Had himself a very good Pro Mazda career about a couple of years ago with Glacier, but now it's all about how these drivers work together. Drivers like Klotman and Trengeride now looking to keep behind the new touted star of Joni Takkanen. But right now, you have to feel you can't afford to get too frustrated in the early stages. You've got a long time to make your way through, and there was a little bit of misdemeanors there from Klotman, who didn't leave much space at all, hung out Takkanen to drive.
Yeah, and as Takkanen, well, he's trying to look for something to go around. He's perhaps tracking a little out of the carousel more than he should. And if you want to figure out where your favorite cars might be running or seeing whom is in the field that we might not be able to cover, there's RaceSpot.tv/timing. Put that into one of your web browsers, and that will get you the live timing as a lovely companion to this event. Of course, the Road America 500, hashtag Road America 500 on the Twitter thingy. And of course, at RaceSpotTV and iRacing, really, just to get the whole gambit in there. But either way, yes, you're watching the Kamel GT Road America 500. Right now, it's a pair of Heisenfeld Core Motorsports cars pulling away. And in the Audis, however, they are absolutely nose to tail, minus your leaders, as Kei Kashubi is doing a fairly good job as they are running right now through the carousel, whilst your Audi cars are just getting into corner number 1. So already, Jake, we've had 5 laps, and they are almost halfway through, as there's one car, I believe, that is off. That's the Delta iRacing team, number 34.
It is, and the 34 then running into issues then in the early goings of this event. Lap 5 out of 78, but the battle we're looking at is the one for position number 10, Joshua Chin versus Michele Irici, and Joshua Chin made that position, looking to try and recover after a spin earlier on in this event, now looking to try and chase back up to the Team Bushvink Racing red machine. Well, the difference certainly is looking to become a little bit more profound, as now Macau Racing Luriel, for all those Australian racing fans, now looking to close in. Lars Jepperson behind the wheel of that machine, looking to close down, but at the front, as you said, Cam, it's looking a little bit processional at the moment for Hoytzenfelder. 1-2 will be brilliant. 2 seconds the gap now between Boss and Kashubi. 1.8 back to Juani Lopez in third. And actually a battle that looks to improve as time will go on will be the battle for P5. Team Hoytzenfelder and Christian Hewitt is going up against the Pit Demons orange machine of Marc Montaner.
Yes, and as I was noting here that they were already half a track away from each other, well, I lied now. They've only got a couple of corners in between, and the Pray for Pablo car has spun, and he will end up pulling on track just as the GTP cars are starting to approach. That is the number 26 car, ran in the 6 hours of Watkins Glen. Now he's here at the Road America 500. A couple of cars having already retired. The SimRC.de Crimson car, the Heisenfeld Core Motorsports number 99 having pretty significant damage. Lineal Auto Racing, Stars and Stripes, and Dream Factory all involved in that incident early on there with Juani Lopez, who is currently running in the 3rd position, having gotten away with that one. But yes, Jake, your GTP cars now are starting to get into traffic, and if there's ever a time to go on board, it would definitely be now with that number 33 car.
Yes, and it's just trying to dash through, has that vehicle in front. Kei Kashubi has Jürgen Frank to help work through the traffic in front, but Frank suffering with a bit of damage, though, on his GTP, so that's going to not really be very beneficial for Kei Kashubi as they pass the 23 Pit Demons machine of Rufi Munoz there as they look to head on through right now. As we look at things going on, I think that Kei Kashubi will have a very good opportunity, and I believe we're going a lap on board.
Yeah, and just as we're going here on board with Kei Kashubi, that car you're seeing in front of him is actually the lapped car of Jürgen Frank. That's that SimRC Crimson car. He's going to let Kei Kashubi go on by. We're going to let Kei Kashubi go right on through, and he'll show us how to manage this Audi traffic.
Boss is in the pits.
The 66, yeah, okay, so we've got Alexander Voss in the pits. The car looked, it's heavily damaged on the right side, so whatever happened quick.
Yeah, I've got it. We've got contact there, Cam, and it was with the Pray for Pablo car, would you believe, of Pablo Araujo. So already there, just trying to negotiate around, bit of miscommunication. Pablo Araujo.
An incident.
Yep, there was.
Yeah, the number 22 car, the V-Apex Racing Group Purple, has gotten himself rolled around in all sorts of incident with the BTRS Team Galicia car. Both of them crashed around, and actually, you know what? This is an incident that I had seen with, I believe it was a Ferrari GT car having crashed in the outside wall at Road America, right going towards corner number 5, and flipped and rolled and crashed. Looks like we don't get our onboard lap, but you know what? There's time and place for everything. There's too much action going on right now. But yeah, Jake, I'm pretty sure I'd seen an incident with that number 22 car, very eerily similar to something we've seen in real life.
Yeah, and that 22 will not be very happy after all this. The Apex then were heading towards the rear of the field in the first place, but the big incident's happening, and the big one is that the insurance policy has now gone for Hoytsveld, as Alexander Voss had that big error of contact heading down the Kettle Bottoms, but still, with Kashube, he's got to get past 10-10-10 and Bob Van Catchfight, the two teams that are fighting, and it is a lot of traffic that he has to negotiate now in the early stage, and this was the big worry that we were going to have, Cam, going in, is the fact there is a sheer volume of traffic in front that they have to negotiate. 24, they should believe it, 78 running into issues.
Yeah, he's spun around. Christian Kaiwiet has managed to find himself looped around. Did he have a help or not? Yes, he did. Oh, I see. This is what this is all sorts of an incident going into Canada Corner. A couple of Audis that were side by side and then parked in front. All of the GTPs arriving at the same time. And basically, they were expecting to take the corner at GTP speeds, needed to get to GTO speeds, and the rears of the number 73 car, the Pit Demons Orange, ending up going into the air, whereas the Heisenfeld 78s helped them, as we're going back to live pictures here. All sorts of things going off, Jake.
Yeah, all sorts of things. Kashube thinks about actually going 3 wide with 2 Audis there. He had the likes of Team Bear Pope and also the Plain Ducks Racing Mythcom 3. As we know with Plain Ducks, they are very reluctant to beat traffic at times as they head into towards their battles, but something very big. Yeah, Plain Ducks running into a huge incident there, just coming towards the Hurry Downs, and that was Jairo Vire actually turned around. The two of them making contact there, Cam, and it was just a case of side to side as there was a little bit of oversteer of trying to correct from Jairo Vire. The two come together, and Vire pays the consequence.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think these guys are getting a little too uncomfortable with these cars. They need to reset themselves, guys. They've got plenty of time to go. We've still got 70 laps to run here. A lot of door banging going on already, as I believe that team, Jarovia car, has gotten suspension damage as the GTP field rips, roars, and roars their way through the Audi field, as right now, Kei Kashube, he's gone through the majority of the Audi traffic. He's only got 3 or 4 more Audi cars to go, and so let's see if we can now do our onboard lap with him, as we'll come right back to Road America 500 iRacing Live RaceSpotTV as we go on board with Kei Kashube as he works his way through this Audi traffic. And coming off of corner number 14 is Kei Kashubi. He's had an open track for a little bit. You can really see the force, the pressure, the whistling of the turbos, just how fast this GTP car can get around. That was just a 1:55, almost 5 full seconds, Jake, off of qualifying time, as he's got that 5.8 second gap now. The GTP field seems to have been pretty torn asunder, minus I see a group of 3, 6, 7, and 8 positions in GTP are now fighting their way past the start-finish line.
Oh, what a brilliant battle that we've got going on. You got Bushfink in there, you got GT Ross trying to control the pace here with Ivan Sol, and Ivan Sol looking to have this battle going on with Benjamin Perez looking down to the inside. That's not going to work. Michele Ricci just behind as well, as they get past Team Bear Pope and KCJ Seymour as well. These three in a really good battle right now, Cam, and they're looking to hold it off. Other news that we got, there's been a change in your GTO field, and Lucas Jedstad now holds it over Joni Hagner.
Yeah, and Maximilian Scheider went for a little bit of a spin. We saw that. That was the cucumber car. As he managed to lose that all on his own, he ended up finding himself into the tire barrier. But yes, lead change in your GTO division, as Lucas Jestak and Joni Hagner are now trading positions. Marcus Hamilton and the Frederick Evers Best Team Evers Racing machine will go right on by, as the GTP field still working their way through. And it's a bit tiptoey here, as looking behind, I see Joni Takinen. He's trying to go on the outside of Ovi Trent-Marid as they go through the carousel. A little bit of some action here between the 20 and the 41 cars. I see one prototype off.
That's Josh Chin there of Team Chimera, Cam, so he was trying to get around there to drive over Kuhn Hartmann, and he just couldn't manage to make that happen. So big issues for Josh Chin. Not the first time in this race, but he doesn't lose any positions because of it. And look at that, Kuhn Hartmann there, very gentlemanly, lets him through after the misdemeanor. But here comes Takinen looking at Canada, but he's not going to get it. And well, there's going to be another game of waiting here as he looks to start his 10th lap of the race.
Yeah, absolutely, as we're seeing all sorts of different action. There goes Joshua Chin almost again, as he doesn't seem to be very comfortable in the car. Maybe he had a little bit of damage picked up in that Chimera car, and it's affecting how he's handling it. But we have had an extraordinarily chaotic 20 minutes to the start of this race, and I gotta say, these guys kind of got to start chilling it out. They just got to start fighting the cars. As just looking right now, the 20 car and the 41 are having at it, and that right there is, of course, your Takinen and Trent-Marid battle, as a couple more GTP cars are coming through.
Yeah, and those vehicles are Ricci and also the driver of, I believe, Perez. And yes, it is, as they get out of the way. And now, here's where Takinen's going to pounce, because Trent-Marid left the door open a bit, as now Riley Blythe for the Evolution Racing Team machine looks to scythe his way through. But look at the toe that Takinen is going to get. He'll have to do it the long way round here at this section, heading towards turn number 5. Hope that you can get on the brakes nicely into the corner. And looking, getting a better run out to the exit. Little slide though there. That's going to allow that driver of Trent-Marid to hold the inside into the left-hander. And again, driver of Takinen is looking, has himself just that nose down to the inside. And again, another look. The room had to be given there by that driver of Trent-Marid. And now look at the traffic that's stuck behind there. That's William Levesque.
Yeah, and he's trying to get right on through. He's always looking to go to the inside. I see him. I see the headlights. They're darting right in the middle between the two machines here. That'll get him on the carousel as Trent-Marid ends up washing out. As a couple more GTPs will cycle themselves through. We were watching on board there with Joni Takinen. This four-wheel drive beast, this Audi 90 Quattro GTO, I mean, this thing is amazing. You saw these guys are going off track, and it wasn't even slowing them down in this fight that we have here for what would be position at number 5 in your GTO field.
Yeah, and when you hear the words Quattro, you hear pedigree, and they're just so fearsome. Talk about the rally history that the Audi Quattro certainly had, and now you talk about what they've done here. Very interesting machines indeed to show in battles, as Hagner actually is now looking to try and close back down Lucas Jedstad. This is the battle for your GTO leaders. They let both Levesque and also Schwieter through. Schwieter gets the almightiest of almighty runs, stuck behind, almost having to push his man through in this situation, because they are locked in top speed, and that's very good from that driver of William Levesque, because he was holding himself at the same speed as Jedstad heading up that straight to block the driver of Schwieter from having any opportunity of getting past.
Yeah, and Hagner just had an off track there at the end of corner 1. That was a little bit worried. I almost saying if Jean Schwitter wanted to be a little ruder, he could have bump drafted that car and forced William Levesque to brake later by pushing that front of that car. But obviously that is not something that we would like to see. So very politely getting off the brakes a little bit earlier. So John Schwitzer was allowing William Levesque that breathing room. So that's good to see of him as Ronnie Fontini. Fontini's finding himself 1 lap down that number 99 Heisenvelt machine. We've got a couple of these Heisenvelt machines. Look very similar, but except for the numbers, because they hate us in the commentary booth, I suppose. But either way, Hagner seems to just be having issues falling off track, Jake, right now, and that's allowing Lucas Yesnock some comfortable room in his number 85 MSP Phoenix Racing machine as a couple more GTP cars work their way through. Gotta say, GTO, I think, is going to be the one to watch here at Road America.
It certainly is, with a 7-second gap, actually, for Keiko Schube in what is the only running Heutzen-Velkel Motorsports machine on the leading lap right now. A 7-second gap over Vendevar is massive indeed, but it is all about GTO at the moment with this gap, which is split by just about a second and a little bit, you'd feel, between Hagner and Jedstad. Jedstad very cool and collected on circuit. Hagner throwing the vehicle around, really trying to use all of the quattro, like the rally driving heritage that the Finnish drivers normally have, with drivers like Mäkinen and Jari-Matti Latvala and drivers like that sort of caliber. So right now you have to feel that Joni Hagner looking a little bit more ragged right now, as we do have 2 Finnish drivers inside the top 3. Koen Klotman has run into issues. Onto pit road though is Madcow Racing Muriel.
Yeah, a bit of front-end damage on that number 6. He'll pull that GTP Racing machine in as he'll go past the damaged car of Team Dralvai, which, of course, we saw get that damage earlier on. A couple more cars on pit lane, Stars and Stripes car, the Heisenvelt core machine. Both of them missing their drivers, so, of course, those cars retired. But Lars Giuseppe, it took quite a big, hefty bump on that front right. I almost wouldn't be too surprised if that Goodyear Eagle's a little damaged.
Yeah, and certainly with a bit of that damage, it's going to be very, very difficult to be dealing with. But again, MSP Phoenix Racing lose the position as Joni Hagner goes through at turn number 5. Had to leave it late there. The room was given there by Jedstad. Took that outside line. That was a little bit cheeky there from Joni Hagner, just to stick a nose down the inside, see if any room was going to be given. And under the Corvette bridge, it was a very easy overtake in the end. He's back to where he needs to be. But Jedstad, you feel that the Club DH driver will have an opportunity to get his way back at some stage, but that was all down to a mistake from the Kamel Lejano team, which really did drop them back 3 seconds. Overall, a good run for Jedstad, though, will give him a good opportunity here towards Canada Corner.
Yeah, and it does have a good thing. They take the kink here. Now, an interesting thing to note, these cars are taking the kink at about 116 miles an hour. The GTPs that we're seeing just took it at about 165. So the Cucumber car is coming very quickly. That SimRC car, no action going into Canada Corner. I think Canada Corner for Indy cars, Canada Corner for open wheel cars, for something like the Neo Endurance Series, you'd have your prototype cars. For these Audis, I just don't really think it's really a too wide corner.
Whoa, and I'm just seeing here Josh Chin battling with Ivan Sol, and Josh Chin's dropping back now and struggling here. Loses 1 position. Here's the second as Michele Ricci will make his way through. Now here comes Benjamin Perez, and the big struggle is a lot of vehicles getting damaged, especially in GTP. It's very difficult here to keep a clean nose in this vehicle because it is so low to the ground. It has that low floor clearance cam, and that's very, very crucial to picking up damage, even if you try and be really aggressive on the curbs here today.
Yeah, of course, a lot of ground effects in this car. The 80s, the 90s were kind of the king of ground effect until these things really started getting to the point where they were just taking off over the most mild of humps in the racing circuit, and that's when we started going away from that, as Ivan Sol has Michele Ricci on the inside. That Team GT Fumo car just wanted to peek the inside, but backed out as they head their way towards the kink. No traffic up ahead except for perhaps that Jaro car, which, yes, they will catch. So it is position 6, 7, 8, 5, and 8. So that means that, of course, Joshua Shin, he seems to be having a lot of trouble. He's been picking up damage as Benjamin Perez goes on his inside to Canada Corner.
Yeah, very, very easy overtaking. Josh Chin is a very experienced hand. He knows when he's damaged and knows when he needs to get himself out of danger, and he loses 3 positions on this lap. But Ivan Sol against Michele Ricci, what a brilliant battle this is, and a good run there from Ricci actually. Coming out of that final corner, will get the run up the hill and the run towards turn number 1 out on circuit. Ricci, though, is going to back off of it there a little bit, actually. I was looking at Cam, so that means that he's thinking about the long game, thinking of a better opportunity at maybe turn number 5, where it's a little bit more decisive for him to get himself through.
Riley Blythe will find himself up 1 position on Joshua Chin as he ran late into the entry. But either way, though, these GTP cars are kind of your top 5 to top 10 all tight knit together. This is the action that we really should have seen here, as Ivan Sol still covering over Michele Ricci. But unfortunately, that turn 1 lap, lap 1 turn 3 incident, which managed to ding up about probably 10 machines, had massive issues. Some were permanently damaged, others were able to get repaired and back out. But that sort of split your field, and this position 5 on back, Jake, is really where the cars that weren't affected by that race managed to find themselves.
Yes, and again, a look to the inside from Ricci as he looks down the hurry downs, looking for an opportunity. He's looking to go plus 11 already in this event. You talk about the Evolution Racing Team machine, 22nd to 8th plus 14. Big gainers here the more that you look further down the field. And again, Ricci looking to just set up this run and hope that it works for him right now. He's just unable to make anything happen, not through the kink, and he won't be close enough in this situation. So another game of what is looking, look to the inside though from Jedstad in your GTO division. Contact between the two, no real harm, no real foul, but that was the warning shot from Jedstad there. That was NASCAR-esque.
Yeah, and of course, these cars, I mean, you got to remember, these things did end up growing into, I mean, most of these GTO cars were street racing machines. Street courses were where a lot of IMSA racing was back in the day. They loved going to cities all around the United States and bringing them street courses, so they built these cars. They grew them accommodantly, as these things are a bit closer to touring cars of the day. But yeah, you've got your frame, your chassis, I believe it's a space frame chassis.
Yeah, we got a bit of contact behind Kei Kashubi. It was Andrew Barker of Team Heibel and Norbert Leitner of Team 10-10-10, obviously taking inspiration from Ty Dillinger, the WWE wrestler. Norbert Leitner hits the wall hard coming out of turn number 7, I do believe it is, Cam.
Yeah, front end damage carrying on that number 21 Audi as Andy Pears looks to close on in. But the BTRS Team Galicia car managed to come up that 1 position from that damaged Audi, as still GTP leaders are working their way through. There goes Juani Lopez onto the inside of the Red Face Racing solo car of Anthony Froment. And of course, the team names, Jake, all sorts of all over the place. You've got Team Highball, that Andrew Bakke car, and Team Highball was in fact a team, as we're looking at the GT Elite.
Yeah, side by side now in towards the right-hander of turn number 1, and Jedstad looking at the inside, has the inside for 3 compared to Joni Hagner. Hagner, though, an experienced hand, has the outside line into 3 and had much better braking, actually, down into the corner. Nothing Jedstad could do, and being pinched down on that inside will really compromise the run right now, heading to 5.
Yeah, as they're working their way right on down now, as Joni Hagner still will leave the window open. Here comes Lucas Jastak. He's on the inside, down 1 gear, down 2 gear, down 3. This is all heel and toe operation. And there goes the overshoot from Joni Hagner. What happened to Lucas Jastak?
Missed gear.
Yeah, something. Oh, he must have.
It's really difficult.
Let's see if we can go on board and take a listen with Lucas Jastak. We'll see what happened here. Just because it sounds to me like you're correct, he must have missed a gear.
Yeah, it sounds like...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's horrible, Cam. It really is. And Jedstad, who was fighting so hard, 1 missed gear certainly does change. And P5 having a big issue there. GT Ross.
Massive issue.
Yeah, huge there. And Ivan Sol turned heavily around. And, well, that is a big one, Cam.
All right, this is where this started. Again, corner number 3 doesn't seem to be the good one today. MXS Racing Team number 76. It's an Audi. It had pretty much the course, and then everyone else closed right on in and caused a massive conflagration. Even so, Michelle Ritchie went up into the aisle. Benjamin Perez managed to get around most of it, though I think he still picked up some damage. But, yeah, Jake, massive conflagration here. I think it actually, at the end of the day, only really involved 2 cars, but boy, did that look spectacular. Yeah, it was a massive, massive moment, and for Riley Blythe, he will be very happy with the way that it all ended out for him, because he's now the driver up in position number 5 overall, starting 22nd out on the grid. And if things stay the way they do, I wouldn't be surprised to see an Evolution Racing Team podium. Absolutely, and I gotta say, great slow motion camera work from Paul Smith, our cameras here today. But yeah, that was quite an incident. But yeah, whoever falls over to the side, I mean, it's the gain of other cars. I mean, we did have, what is it? 25 cars basically in each group. We only had 47 on the field, but either way, Joyful Understeer is going to take over position number 3 because one of your front-running GTO cars has now found himself on pit lane to get some service. Yes, they have, and so now it's all about how you manage it. It was Joni Tacken actually who lost the position to the Joyful Understeer team. Klotman behind in position number 5. So 3-car battle going on. And one of the big issues the circuit has, Cam, is that it's only really too wide in places. There's no real massive expanse that you can have to deal with lap traffic. It's a lot more pronounced than what you'd see at a Nürburgring or a Spa or anywhere else for that matter of fact. So when you have such a narrow circuit and you're trying to get vehicles past, it does become a little bit clustered, and you do need a lot of cooperation between both drivers in both classes to make that through. Takkinen, though, he needs to work hard right now because his race victory is slipping from his grasp. Same can be said for Ovi. Well, we've still got a ton of racing left to do, quite a few pit stops. I mean, we're going to have to remember here, and this is an important thing to note, we didn't get to touch on it because of how explosive the GTP start was, but it's looking like it is going to be 2 pit stops for your GTP cars. I don't know on the Audis, I'm sorry. But I know your GTPs are going to be 2 pit stops of full service, and they are going to have to save fuel at some point because they can run about, they can run 70 laps in total for the course of their 2 pit stops. So they're going to have to save some fuel somewhere. Yeah, they certainly are, and saving fuel is always going to be a difficulty, and with fuel being a premium, we are going to see lap time start to slow down. Let's take an example of the Hoyt's-Velco Motorsport machine. Qualified with a 1:49.8, that last lap time was a 1:54.4. That's 5 seconds worth of difference. Most of that comes down to the amount of fuel that's in the vehicle, Cam, but also some of that is down to fuel saving and tyre saving as well. I would not be surprised with just how twitchy those rears can be in this vehicle that we do see tyre changing become a factor. Yeah, and these guys will be changing tires. The amount of time it's going to take to fill that tank in the GTP car, because it can fill 200 pounds of fuel in the tank, so they've got plenty of time to change their tires. And with this being the great United States of America, we changed the tires, the driver, and the fuel all at the same time, and so therefore everything works. As Yoni Hagner, he gets a little bit of a hit from Lucas Yestak, checks the door of Juan E. Lopez, as there it goes, Yoni Hagner. These guys are chasing these cars, they're changing positions every single lap, yet their cars are hanging together tough. Yeah, they are, and that was all done because Juan went down to the inside, and looking to be the ultimate opportunist there was Lucas Jedstad. He looked at the inside, thought there was an opportunity for me to take that lead again from Joni Hagner. Hagner firmly shut the door on him, and they're so lucky that they are not collecting more damage than they are. And if they keep on scrapping like this, they'll allow this second group behind them to close them in, as now Marcus Hamilton makes his way around the carousel, passing the P3, P4 battle that's going on. Looking at that P1, P2 battle, I reckon there's about 8 seconds out on circuit there, Cam, between P2 and P3. Yeah, and I gotta say, the GTP field, if we didn't have that incident, I think we'd still be seeing a great race going on. But you know what? For Kei Kashubi, he's focusing on his lap times, and he is still doing great laps, actually, on that full tank of fuel. So the fuel changes the car so much. I mean, adding 200 pounds to a racing machine is going to slow it down a bit, as a 153 blocks in from Kei Kashubi as they're going past the rest of the field. I gotta say, those Heisenberg Core Motorsport cars, like I was talking about earlier, well, there's 2 on pit road, and they've been abandoned. So, unfortunately, it looks like for Heisenberg Core Motorsports, not the day they're going to want to have, because they came here with, like, 4 cars.
They did. They came here with 3 vehicles, Cam, expecting each of them to have a good result. And for Kei Koshube, he's now got to carry the hopes of Hoitzing-Velcourt Motorsports and what has been, Cam, a very, very difficult year for them after their massive rise to fame in 2016, were just a point off taking the inaugural Blancpain GT Championship. And Kei Koshube and his work that he did in VLN last year was certainly a driver that everyone had an eye on of really hitting the heights this year. Hasn't really done so much though, but this Kamel GT victory here in this Road America 500, you feel would be a very nice Kickstarter to get back into winning ways.
Oh, and not just that. I mean, the guy has proved himself in every single type of car, as we're now watching this massive battle going on between your position 5, 6, and 7. Obviously not, it's been tempered by that incident, but here goes Riley Blythe past Gregory Tansen, the MSP Racing number 52. Here comes William Levesque and Benjamin Perez as well. But either way, for Kei Koshube, I mean, he's quick in whatever you put him in. You can put him in a Skip Barber car, he's quick. You put him in a Spec Racer Ford, I'm sure he'd be quick there. GT cars, amazingly quick. We've seen him do some laps at VLN that are still untouched. But either way, as I see somebody off track, who is that? It's Jawad Karoni, the number 4, or the number 9 car in position number 4. He's found himself off the track.
Yes, he did, and well, there was contact actually from behind, and that was Joni Takkanen who's turned him around. So lap traffic getting a better run off the exit. Remember, these GTP machines, they are incredibly quick, but they can be incredibly fragile as well, especially through mid-speed corners. And turn 5, the number 7 machine has run into issues as well as Team GT Fumo as well, Cam. So now we are starting to see a few issues.
That we are. That is going to be a retirement from that Team GT Fumo car, piloted by Michelle Ricky. Of course, that's no surprise. We saw that car being involved in that massive incident, as well as the Petronas Racing Team car. Not sure what had happened with that car, but that's all sorts of crumpled up. But either way, though, yes, these Audis and these GTP cars. The Audi is insanely quick. On the exit of a corner, it is faster than the GTP car. Naturally, not like a better driver sort of thing, where if the better driver's in the Audi, they can get a better exit. No, the car is just actually faster. 4-wheel drive, massive turbo, massive engine, barely any lag compared to the Nissan. Bit of lag, completely rear-wheel drive, and you don't have any downforce yet. So the Audis, it's all about learning where you're at and where your pace is and where you got to do, because these Nissans and Audis, this is probably the most difficult multi-class racing that you could possibly imagine, just because of how different these cars are.
Yeah, exactly, and that's going to be a really, really big point to make as the battle continues between Perez and Blythe. The issue that these drivers are having here is that they are adapting quite a few drivers to a new vehicle in some senses. This isn't necessarily the machine that's driven on the day-to-day by most drivers, as again the driver of Benjamin Perez is looking very angry in the mirrors of the driver of what is going to be Riley Blythe, and again has to take that wider line. And now into the mix here in this big battle here with Levesque behind is Christian Hewitt of the Team Hoitzing-Velcourt machine, which did drop down the order, now looking to make its way back up through. And also you've got to be very careful about that real championship machine, because if that runs into more issues, then that could be a P4 battle that we have also on our hands, Cam.
Yeah, another classic paint scheme from the Team Heisenfeld car. It is not, however, the Heisenfeld Core Motorsports car. Of course, that would be those Core prototypes. This is actually a Team Heisenfeld machine, so a little bit similar language, different cars, but you got that Annex Racing 144 from William Levesque, all that green and black machine. In pursuit of the all black with the orange sides and the white cockpit area of Team Bushfink Racing as they work their way up the hill. And they're actually pursuing Riley Blythe in the Evo Lucian Racing Team 226, the Australian driver.
Yes, he is as well. They're passing the P1, P2 battle in GTO as well. So this is a very, very dangerous situation, because Jedstad wanted to make that move, had the run, but because of the traffic trying to get its way through, was unable to make any form of move down in towards turn number 1. But at turn 3, a little bit of a wide line had to be taken by that driver, Joni Hagner. He was forced to, because of the driver Christian Hewitt going through. So now Jedstad with a very good run here, coming out of turn number 3, looking at turn number 5 with an opportunity. It's going to be too wide, too deep, because Levesque now having to defend from Hewitt. He's going to hold on to that position for now, but down to the inside. Thank you very much. Jedstad now back to your GTO lead.
Yeah, and in the back, I see Yoni Hagner. He's going on to the inside of Lucas Yestak. No, the door gets shut as Joshua Chin looks to find himself coming through. He will have to back it off, rightfully so. These GTP cars, you are not going to get your way whenever you want it. And this is actually going to be a dangerous area because this is where we saw the incident before. Here comes Joshua Chin, and they go side by side. This is going to allow Yoni Hagner to get some speed because Lucas Yastak has to hold off. No, all of them hold off, so they will continue. And just look at how far in the distance that prototype car goes. And here comes Yoni Hagner. They're going to go through the kink. A little bit of different jockeying for positioning through the carousel, Jake. Now they're going to run that kink. And still, these guys are putting on a phenomenal show here at the Road America 500.
Yeah, they certainly are. Jedstad versus Hagner. This is turning out to be a battle for the ages that we have at the moment, and where you feel that this Audi is certainly proving to be a very, very robust vehicle, as these two have knocked 6s and 7s out of each other in the early stages of this one. Ove in position number 3 is looking to try and hold on to it, but this is the difference in lap times. 2:08.9s from the pair at the front. It was a 2:09.5 from Trengaride, so that's 0.6 of a second difference right now between P1 and 2 and P3, and Hagner is dropping off the back.
You are, of course, watching after 41 minutes and 23 laps the Road America 500 in the Kamel GT series. It's the iRacing Live RaceSpotTV. I'm Cameron Walsh. That's Jake Sperry. Of course, Paul Smith on the cameras. Hashtag Road America 500 for the Twitter users. And of course, if you want to figure out whereabouts everyone lies, perhaps whose cars have retired, where people's positions are, you can go to RaceSpot.tv/timing. It is really that simple. And that is live and updated, streamed right, I believe, from Paul Smith's computer. So it should at least somewhat be accurate. But either way, though, if you're just joining us, Kei Kashubi has got a 12-second gap over your second position GTP car of Devil Sim Racing without any colors. And here comes Kei Kashubi onto pit lane. These cars, Jake, not a ton. They go through the fuel faster than you would imagine. 200 pounds of fuel gone just like that in 23 laps. That is not good for how they're going to do this. It's looking like they're going to need to make 3 pit stops at this point.
Yes, and that's going to be very crucial as Juani Lopez stays out, so Kei Kashubi drops in early down onto pit road, and with that in mind, that you will go about 72 laps, you would feel, from here to make that final stop on lap 72 of 78, so he needs to save about 6 laps of fuel somewhere on circuit. Also down on pit road, I did spy cam the driver Marcus Hamilton, so he's also a driver who's struggling right now to make the fuel number, and I feel that the number 1 going that lap later is going to be very, very beneficial for him, especially now as he catches up to lap traffic of SR Racing. That's Sam Rosamond behind the wheel as he makes his way in towards turn number 5, but he is getting held up, and that's crucial.
Yeah, and I don't think the tires are any play here. I mean, just looking at it, Marcus Hamilton's laps are right on par with where he was running before. There goes Kei Kashubi out, and he has got no traffic to the front, no traffic behind. So 34.4 on the ticker as Kei Kashubi pulls away. He's got himself in a good spot, Jake. He's got no GTO traffic to speak of.
Yes, and this pit stop strategy is going to be so, so crucial from between now towards the end of the race, because it's all about how you hold on to a vehicle, how you battle, and actually how your brain incorporates the racing. Side-by-side battling, I'm seeing Red Face Racing Solo of the 19 loses the position to the BTRS Team Galicia machine of Cesar Elteron, and well, Cesar will make his way through the 18 on the 19, and that's going to be for position number 28.
Yes, and it may be for position number 28, but it is good enough for what will be, I believe, if I can find them, position number 12 in your GTO field is that BTRS car. That is, of course, the vintage paint scheme for Audi used to run, and then a multicolor that for Red Face Racing Solo. As yes, here comes Vendaval, no surprise there. So 24 laps on a tank. These guys, with how much running they're doing, perhaps not making it. I was under the impression they can make 25 laps a tank, and these guys are coming in 2, maybe 1 lap short.
Yes, and that's very crucial, because those 2 or 1 lap shorts will snowball, and that will make life very, very difficult. To just tell you just how difficult the racing is being. We only have 15 GTPs still running in this event right now. Compare that to the 20 machines that we have in GTO. The GTPs are taking the biggest helm of the brunt, shall we say. Juani Lopez in, he will get the fuel and he'll look to try and get himself back out again. For the Hoyks and Velcro Motorsports machine though, straight past the start finish line he'll go, and the jump will be all too easy.
Yes, yes, it will. And actually, that Vendaval car seems to be losing quite a bit. Where is Kei Kashubi? Kei Kashubi is way ahead, as I think he's going to have a much larger gap than what he started with. So whatever his outlap was very impressive. Juani Lopez is off and away, and he'll find himself back in, I believe, 5th or 6th position. But either way, your leader currently right now, Riley Blythe in the Evolution Racing Team 226. And here comes William Levesque on the inside. He wants some of that action. That 1-444 car going to the inside, nice and easy.
Yeah, nice and easy there from Levesque, making the move there in the 144 Inex Racing machine. Riley Blythe didn't have too much to really respond with, as these are the drivers that are looking to make that two-stop strategy. This is the big issue, though, that they're going to be having today, Cam, because although they're on that two-stop and they're going to be saving that extra stop down onto pit road, the question is they've got to stay within a certain amount of window compared to Kei Kashubi to stay within relevance for the race win, and I'm not sure that they're doing that right now when you think about the fact that they are about 45 seconds back already heading towards the first stop.
Yes, and it becomes very difficult to try to surmount these mountains. We got to remember, these GTP cars, you could throw them all together without any traffic, and you would still have gaps like this with just how the drivers are going. But either way, Kei Kashubi, he's finding himself in a little bit of traffic, but not, I wouldn't say too terribly much. He's a little bit behind Joshua Chin, and it is going to be, I mean, Christian Kuit, Riley Blythe, and William Levesque, as they're working their way around your traffic. Of course, these guys are going to be your leaders, and they are all going to come in. No surprise there. These guys did make the 25-lap metric, so we'll see here. We've got a little bit of chat here in the stream, and from some of the drivers who retired earlier, Tapani Linulotto's. It's supposed to be a 26 plus 26 plus 26 lap run, Jake. It's not looking like anybody's hitting those numbers except for these 3 cars. And the big issue for that, actually, Cam, comes down to the track as a vehicle goes off in the form of Chris Sansisto of the Delta iRacing team. The issue comes down to the track temperature. It's 40 degrees. It's hot. It's very, very understeery, and that, of course, means that you're actually taking longer, lap times are slower, and that means that fuel numbers also go down. So the track conditions today, Cam, are making it a 3-stop race rather than a 2-stop. And the 226 car, he's slid a little bit and a little too angled into the pits. He has found himself parked into the pit while his headlight is resting on the concrete. How will he be able to get away without pancaking that car? As he is now sitting there, I seriously think if he doesn't reverse it, he is going to destroy the side of that car. He'll get away. And you know what? I don't think somehow he has not managed to do anything but barely tip the paint off of that car. And I think he actually got out ahead of Christian Coit. He did. 'Tis but a scratch, in the words of British fabled comedians that we have right now. And Riley Blythe out ahead of Hewitt, which was to be expected in that situation. The question, though, is does he stay out ahead of drivers like Levesque? And, well, for Levesque in the Inex machine, he is certainly well on his way in comparison. So Levesque may be short fueling this one a little bit now here, Cam, knowing the fact that it's going to have to be a 3-stop here from now towards the end of the race. Baz Schlob, though, is on course for a 2-stop strategy as things stand in the Gathering of Tweakers machine. Yeah, and I think that this is a machine. Baz Schlob, I think, is a normal racer here. He's used to this, and I think at this point it'd be pretty comfortable for him to know exactly what he needs to do in that Slow Motorsport number 10. It's the Gathering of Tweakers car officially, but I believe he will be coming in this time. Yes, he will. And Jake, as the 8 car goes off. Yeah, that's the Audi Sport Team Gibraltwagen Plus machine. That's Koen Klopman behind the wheel, and he's done that one, actually. Just heading out to the hurry down, so didn't quite manage to catch that, Cam. I wonder if you did. Yeah, I did not actually manage to catch that out. But either way, though, Koen Klopman He was fighting for, I'm sure, a position somewhere. We saw this number 8 silver Audi fighting for positions pretty much all race long so far. And obviously, not exactly what you want to see here, but the battling's still going on between Riley Blythe and Christian Kawit as the Evolution Racing Team 226 is under a massive amount of pressure as these guys go past the old Trendegrade Audi.
Yeah, and there was a big issue there for Hewitt because he had to get right out of it, completely missed the apex there, and completely missed staying on the rear of the driver of Riley Blythe. Blythe is driving a blinder at the moment, and who can blame him for the performance that he's actually putting in right now? Hopefully he can continue to get this going, but actually very interesting is that Pit Demon's orange machine of Marc Montaner. I believe he came down in on lap number 8 and 9 here, Cam, so what that would suggest is he's gone for the short fill early to go for those 2 long stops towards the end. So an alternative strategy already by Pit Demons.
Yeah, and I think that also, I think the Pit Demons car did have a little bit of damage, if I can recall. They were the ones that were involved in an incident at the exit of Canada Corner. So maybe perhaps they had to get a little bit of repair too and decided let's just combine it all into one big shindig. But either way, just looking at where people stand after this GTP pit stop, Kei Kashubi has now found himself back in the lead with a 17-second gap now between him and Wani Lopez, who himself has about maybe a 15-second lead over Marcus Hamilton in that Frederick Evers Best Team Evers racing car. And that Gathering of Tweakers machine is sitting in the back. It'll be hovering there. Will the strategy pay off for them in the GTO division? Lucas Yestak seems to get a little bit more of a comfortable lead over the Kameleano car of Joni Hagner. Joyful Understeer running in 3rd. Joni Takanen is running in the 4th position in the Autosport team. Gabrochwagen is in the 5th position right now, and that number 8. And Jake, after the first 50 some odd minutes we have done here, I gotta say, if only we had a very good run with these GTP cars, I think we'd have a very good race ahead of us, but this one's still paying off.
Yeah, it certainly is paying off. We're having some great battling up and down the field, and you feel that right now it all comes down to how the strategy card is coming into play, especially in the GTP division. GTO yet to come down in right now, but I feel that Joni Hagner may be the closest driver to catching the 85.
Yeah, and actually, you know what, we'll go on board with Joni Hagner, that number 13 Kameleano car, as he pursues the number 85 of Lucas Yesnak. Let's go on board with a lap here at the Road America 500. This is your GTO division, the Audi 90 GT Quattro. So on board with Joni Hagner as he comes out of corner number 3. A good running from that Audi GTO. And Jake, I think the biggest thing we got to remember, our current cars, our current crop of modern cars, you can wiggle your fingers and have the car shift for you. This, not so much.
Let's even unmute my microphone here at this moment.
There we go.
Yeah, that will help. Certainly it will. No, you're certainly not going to be in a situation, Cam, where you're going to be having that flappy paddle gearbox. It's pretty much H shifter or bust. So you'll be moving that that right hand up and down, working yourself through the gears, and it's always going to be very difficult in these Audis to make sure that you have yourself in position to make sure that everything works out for you. It's about how you mind map every single part of the circuit, and it's a much more physical affair than it would be, say, if you were in a current crop of a Formula Renault.
Yeah, heel and toe, you got that clutch action going on the upshifts. But you can rev match it on the downshifts, but you can miss it, which we've seen a missed shift. That actually cost Lucas Yestok the lead at one point. But here comes Nick Fisson and that gathering of Tweaker's car having taken over for Bas Slob. And here he goes on to the outside of the one car, and he'll go to the inside of the other. And Canada corner, it's starting to get a little dusty on the exit, just from how people are taking the exits. But this track here at Road America, it had moderate usage at the start, but you know what? It is going to be getting worn in, I think, fairly quick. These are older tires from 1989 as the GTOs come in. Yeah, so Lucas Yestok comes in, Joni Hagner comes in. They're going to get their work done in a way, but I was going to say these tires, I'm not quite sure just how much rubber they're putting on, but you know what? They're going to come in. I'm pretty sure they're going to get new ones.
Yeah, lap 27 of the event, so very firmly a two-stop strategy in play then for your GTO division. Battle of pit crews, Kamel against the MSP Phoenix Racing Machine, and well, it was two perfect pit stalls there for the pair of drivers looking to come in. In comes also Joyful Understeer, also looking to dive in is Supersport Racing, so staying out on circuit is the Joni Tarkinen machine and also the Audi Sport Team Brutwagen Plus machine. So right now, you have to feel it's a two-tier strategy of 2 laps difference between the two right now, Cam.
Yeah, and here come a couple of more Audis getting service. The Joyful Understeer, the Supersport Racing with the, boy, that is an interesting paint scheme on one. I believe that is a popular product of current day's handheld technologies. But either way, Miko Ruscola, he will pull away. The Kameleano car will get the over of MSP Phoenix Racing. Yes, that is. And so, you know what? That number 13 car is up ahead. But you know what? We got a different driver piloting that number 13 as well.
And that's going to be the big difference, because Jedstad is already comfortable inside that machine. A 1.3 second faster pit stop as they come out just behind Jürgen Frank and the SimRC.de Crimson machine. The thing is, Jedstad is already accustomed to this machine. Skola is getting into a machine that has taken a couple of hits here or there, and you do not get any way of practicing that when you're out racing, Cam.
Yeah, not at all. And then, of course, to hit every single gear shift. So Miko Ruscola will find himself in it very quickly as just looking through where some of these cars are lying. You've got a little bit of lacked traffic for the Audi leaders, as they've got the Pit Demons car up ahead, the number 23. But either way, a little bit of a reprieve from the GTPs, but they always come back. And then, of course, your lead battles right now are staying pretty static, but the Team Heisenfeld car, Jake, and the 226 Evolution Racing Team car, I think they're probably the closest in GTP right now.
Yeah, they certainly are, and well, it seems that right now, it's the 85 and the 13 in a great scrap. That's what we're looking at here. And Jedstad's made the move actually on the driver of Miko Ruscola. Ruscola had absolutely nothing to respond with side by side in towards the Hurry Downs, Cam. And that was all about making that move around the outside. He made it happen. What a brilliant move it was. And Ruscola is really struggling to adapt to that vehicle, because that was 1.3 seconds quicker on the stop. But look at that. Jedstad is flying away from him right now.
Yeah, he'll get comfortable right quick as Miko Ruscola will find himself, you know what, at the very least, though, as a consolation, he gets to watch how Lucas Yestok is attacking this circuit. And of course, you got to think you just got to warm up a little bit here. I don't think you can just hop into a car like this and just gun it. I think back in the olden days, a lot of times you would have the same driver run races like this, simply due to the fact that they were so much more comfortable with it, even though I'd have to say these cars are a massive physical effort, even here in the virtual world.
Exactly, as we are also seeing the likes of Team Jody Tackinen coming out of pit road right now on a big battle right now with the joyful understeer team heading down that front straight. It's going to be very marginal between the two and in towards turn number 1. Well, thank you very much, there's Tackinen. He takes that position away from the driver of Ove Trengeride right now, but the crucial thing is these two drivers are still together. It's about trying to break away from the slipstream, which is very apparent, surprisingly apparent, you feel, in these GTO machines, Cam.
Yeah, massive hole through the air gets punched by the machine in front, and these massive turbocharged engines managed to close the gap real quick. But either way, though, we saw it, well, at least I saw it at Daytona when we first started covering these cars quite a while ago at this point, that these GTO cars could run really quick down around the Daytona banks. And you add a little bit of draft there, and these things were absolutely ripping and roaring. But either way, the battle for GTO is overall, I think, positions right here. Joni Tackinen and Ove Trengarden, as well as a couple of other GTO cars that find themselves in some battles. Yeah,
they certainly are right now, and it's all about how you manage to get yourself through right now as we look at that 85 machine, the MSP Phoenix Racing machines. He actually tries to get past the 23 of the Pit Demons. That is technically for position. That 23 hasn't come down onto pit road as of yet, so that position is very easily managed there against that 23 of Rufy Munoz. They're doing 209s as lap times, where you compare what Jedstad was doing of 207s before coming down in on towards pit road. So clearly Munoz going long on the stop, and as you expected comes down onto pit road. So that one, while it was for position, it was very crucial. You couldn't know when that vehicle was coming in, so Jedstad had to make that position count.
Well, that he did. He wanted to keep on running. He didn't want to get stuck behind a car that might not be going as fast or as confident as he is. You know, obviously, you got to have a lot of faith in this machine as Lucas Jastak goes off track just a little bit, just enough. But you know what? He's got 4 tires rolling, so 1 going off. No worries for him as he does it again off the exit of corner number 3 as well. But either way, though, GTO is still managing to perform. GTP, however, things, Jake, are getting quite a bit static here, as it's Heisenfeld Core with Kei Kashubi, 14 seconds over Wani Lopez and the Vendaval without color. Then the Frederick Evers, best team Evers, is about 30 seconds off your leader with the INEX, about a minute.
Exactly, it's very spaced out even as we look at the battle for position number 12. Out on circuit right now, Ivan Sol under pressure in the 88 GT Ross SST Orange machine against Pit Demons Orange. So a battle of the oranges going on, and a run wide there from that driver of Sol. It's going to allow Marc Montaner to try and make an opportunity. Traffic ahead in the form of Gregory Tansen of the MSP Phoenix Racing 52, looking for an opportunity. Looks to the outside, inside, weaving. Is there any way through? Not when there's traffic in front. There's contact there, and that was Montaner being unable to turn into the corner because of Sol, and Tansen was left with nowhere to go.
Yeah, Montaner doing a little bit of a wiggle, just checking to make sure that Demon's car is all good, which it is. As Gregory Tansen, that was not Lucas Jastak. That was not your race leading MSP Phoenix car. That was the sister car, the 52. But either way, yes, these GTP cars still rocking and rolling here, as they're going to find themselves very quickly here. Just look at the speed through this carousel. Gresham Wagner is going to be bearing to this once again. On the outside one, on the inside the other, as they head their way towards the kink. 163, no lifting in the GTP cars, but Jake, lifting and braking to go through the kink in the GTO cars.
Yeah, certainly is the difference in downforce levels when you have such high-speed downforce as what the GTP Nissan certainly have. There's not much that you can argue in terms of time that is saved. Quite a bit is the answer to that one, but right now these two battling 1 lap down on the race. That's how dominant Kei Kashubi has certainly been. Not a good run though from the GT Ross SST Orange machine. Literally nose to tail, they will go down this straight with Montaner looking at a potential to get past. Klotman is the vehicle in front, and again, every single opportunity that Montaner seems to have, he just seems to find traffic in all the wrong positions. And the worst thing is, there's a certain Joshua Chin just in front that they also need to work to get back to. Down to the inside though, at turn number 3, that's not going to work, but he forces the man wide.
He forces him wide, but at the same time, he'll close right on in. I think he wanted to sniff a draft, but then he just goes, I'm too close. I don't want to risk doing it. Yes, he'll do it now. Nope, he'll make a decision going out again. As Montaner going back and forth, he'll decide to go stick on the outside to try to get the undercut, heading up towards underneath the Corvette bridge, heading towards one of the corners, heading towards the carousel. He'll get alongside. Will he stick the position? It's whoever's better on the throttle off the exit. G-Truss SSD Orange quicker on the throttles, and he'll have the position for these corners, which is definitely a one wide corner, or will it not be? They'll still go too wide. Of course, Merrick Montaner will have the better exit this time. Jay, great battling here in GTP.
Oh, absolutely fantastic work there from Montaner to get past Sol, and Ivan Sol now has nothing as the dirty air effect comes into play through the carousel, and all that position is going away. And there's a big wiggle actually there from the driver of Montaner. I'm not sure he's fully convinced that his damage is fully operational right now, so his vehicle may be in a little spot of bother. We'll keep an eye on that one for him if things certainly develop the same way that they are at the moment. But a bigger thing that I'm looking at is that we've seen a certain lack right now of Layano team.
Of the Kamel Layano?
Right.
Yes. Okay. All right. I found it. It's on pit lane. It is missing, I would say, a good portion of the front end of that car.
A good portion is certainly a very good portion. So that's going to be a shame for them. They were up there fighting. It was Ruscola who was behind the wheel. So a big shame, but it's gone at, oh dear me, that does not look like a very nice place to have an incident. And by my looks at things, I'm trying to work out where that is. That's the final corner cam where they've had the incident. And guess who was there? Joao Caroni, heavy contact into the wall. Nowhere that Ruscola could have gone.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up myself, but just a very unfortunate incident. We saw these guys going again and again. These cars were running right past each other, and just right before that final corner, just at that nap from that position number 7. Oh, so violent of a hit, too, for Ruscola. No way that engine could have survived. It instantly detonated. Very harsh incident for one of your GTO leaders. And very unfortunate when you got a GTP car basically throwing out one of the leaders just to, what, say maybe 5-10 mile an hour more going through corner number 14?
Exactly. It's very difficult to know how much your closing speed is, especially in these vehicles. There's the battle for P2, actually. GTO is very close. Trengaride versus Takanen right now that we're looking at. And, well, it seems that just for the moment we're going to stay on replay at this time. And, well, that big shunt, yes, the engine certainly wouldn't have survived, but thank goodness this is sim racing, because that would have been a massive shock to the Hans device.
Yeah, absolutely. And thankfully, we actually have those in the iRacing sim. We're literally safer in the virtual sim than they were in real life. Obviously, these guys back in 1989 would chuckle. But either way, as we're watching along this replay, you're watching this great battle between MSP Racing Phoenix number 85. Really the only challenge to it as they work their way now past Canada Corner. You'll see them take the final couple of corners, and as they approach corner number 14, you'll see the prototype of Joao Caroni parking himself, there it is, into the posterior of that number 13 and sending him viciously into the outside wall.
Yeah, massive contact for the machine in position number 8 out on circuit overall. Joao Caroni. Real Championship had come up to the fold in this last year. I remember when they were a very small team with big aspirations, and Real Championship have certainly upped their game over this year, but incidents like that give you a reputation, and one which they certainly will want to avoid.
Yeah, definitely. The last thing you need to do is there's really nothing that Audi can do. I mean, unless it pulls over to the side, rolls out a red carpet, perhaps a nice, lovely platter of some cheese and sausage. But he's just trying to take corner number 14. There's only one way that these Audis can run a race course quickly. And so the problem is that these GTP cars, on the other hand, it's a completely different world. So we got to remember, though, some courses are courses that we go to in the series really never had GTP and GTO cars together. This, on the other hand, is in fact one of the 4 or 5 times a year that these cars would all be together on track. So we got to remember here that Nissan ZX GTP ZX Turbo would be on track with this Audi 90, and you know, they managed to make these things work. So we know it's possible, but my goodness, does it take careful planning on the part of both drivers.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's always a very, very intricate and delicate dance between two classes when you put them on the same piece of real estate, and no matter what series you try and look in, there will always be contact between a quicker class and a lower class. Such is the difference between those drivers. Looking at the P2 battle going on, though, in GTO between Ove Trengereid, the Norwegian, against the Finnish driver of Joni Takinen, part of the Coanda setup. Now, these two, they've been pretty much stacked like this for the last couple of laps, and Ove is within that 0.6 of a second bubble, but he needs to find that little bit more pace. The last time by, it was a 2.85 meets a 2.89. I think it's going to be a little bit more different this time by, as they make this run up towards the stripe. It's a 2.079 from Ove. Takinen responds with a 2.083, so they both went quicker on that last lap, but Ove is finding a lot more pace.
Yeah, but they still don't really have anything for Lucas Yestak, your leader in GTO, which was a 207.9, whilst Joyful Understeer was as quick as that. Obviously, can't go anywhere when you're stuck behind Joni Takinen. So he's going to have to close, he's going to have to make that pass, but I think the draft really comes into play with these Audi Quattros. But either way, a couple of GTP traffic I see on the horizon, but it is certainly not as it used to be, Jake. We've got a lot of GTP retirements. I'm just looking at it right now. It's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. It's like 11, I think.
I've got it as 9 at the moment, and even 9 or 11, that is a massive amount of those retirements. So you have to feel that in this situation, it's about how you survive fittest, making sure that you keep the car clean and stable on the narrows. We hit half distance now, Cam. This event, Kei Koshube onto lap 39 as he gets incredibly close to Andy Pers Hellenic racing in the middle of the road. That's the last thing that traffic wants.
Yeah, absolutely, on both terms. But Kei Koshube, though, you'll see that prototype behind Nick Thistle. It is not for challenge. That's a 1 lap down as Kei Koshube works his way through. Your overall right now is the Heisenfeld Court Motorsports. After 1 hour and 13 minutes of racing, we're going to take a quick advertisement break. We will go RaceSpotTV side by side. You're watching the Road America 500 with the Kamel GT series here on iRacing Live at RaceSpotTV. Heisenfeld Court Motorsports, Vendaval Sim Racing with Identity Colors, Frederick Evers, team in 3rd GTP, GTO, MSP Phoenix, Team Joni Hakkinen, and Joyful Understeer. So we'll come right back after these few messages.
There are 3 different paths if you want to call yourself a world champion of sim racing. NASCAR, open wheels, or endurance racing. But no matter which one you take, you can guarantee that the journey will always be tough, which few will ever complete. The iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, the premier road racing series in sim racing, started with a new car taking center stage. Then, it was Martin Kroenke resisting any challenge thrown at him to break the 5-year stranglehold of Gregor Hutu as being world champion. These drivers and teams are not just competing for pride, they're competing for money. And with over $20,000 in prizes for each of the series up for grabs, drivers really do put it all on the line.
The NASCAR Beginner for Series powered by iRacing is the premier NASCAR eSports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time Oval World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Rayan Falla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign.
The Blancpain GT Series hosts the top GT3 endurance teams in sim racing, with groups of 3 or more drivers sharing the wheel. This is a championship you can't win alone, and you need the same determination, passion and drive from your teammates to be successful. They often say that it takes just one mistake to lose a championship, and in team racing, it may not be your mistake that costs you the win. Last season, VRS Coanda Simsport won the championship by a single point. This year, who will step up to the plate?
These are the iRacing Esport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. Catch it all season long with live coverage on iracing.com/live.
Welcome back to the Road America 500. I'm Cameron Walsh, that's Jake Sperry, that's Paul Smith, bringing you live coverage of this great event that, well, for lack of better words, in this race was ran in the configuration of 1989. It had a sponsor that, whilst I don't feel I can say, I can simply do, and that is that. That's a little flat, actually. Either way, though, as we're bringing us back to this coverage, the race-winning car from that, the Nissan GTP ZX Turbo, is, of course, the prototype we have on the docket, and the Audi GTO is here as well. Jake, it's one of those things where we psyched ourselves up for it. It looked like it was going to be a good one, but whilst we got great racing from some individuals, the overall race seems to be a bit scatterbrained right now due to a ton of incidents.
It certainly has been, and the Crash compilation videos will certainly be getting a few more additions here today, but here as we head into the second half of this event, there is still some great battles going on. I'm looking at this P2, P3 GTO battle, the final spots on the podium between Team Joni Takkanen behind the wheel, the new Coanda driver, and the joyful understeer team of Ove Trengaride right now. And this is the great thing about this battle going on, because these two drivers very, very well matched at the moment here. These two running pretty much nose to tail within the vicinity of about 0.7 of a second of each other.
Now looking at the top 8 right now in GTP, it's that Heisenfeld Core Motorsports car, the Vendaval Sim Racing Without Any Colors car, the Frederick Evers Best Team Evers Racing Machine, the Inex 144, the Team Heisenfeld 78, the Evolution Racing Team 226, the Team Bushfink Racing Red. These are the cars that are on the league lap. And then the Gathering of Tweakers, first car 1 lap down. And Jake, you've got the top 8 in your GTO field.
MSP Phoenix Racing 85 island of their own at the moment, with the battle for P2, P3 between Team Joni Takkanen and Team Joyful Understeer. Audi Sport Team Wagen, shall I say, not Wagen, plus their Kloppen behind the wheel in 4th, with Super Sport Racing Gresham Wagner position 5, with the MSP Phoenix Racing 52 in 6th. Revolution Racing in 7th position. Around out the top 8, shall I say, is the Playing Ducks Racing Mythcom 3 machine.
Yeah, and of course, we also got to remember here, as you can, of course, catch us with the hashtag Road America 500 at RaceSpotTV. You can also get all of your live timing. We just went through the top 8s, but there's 47 cars that started this race. Where are they now? Well, go to racespot.tv/timing to figure out retirements that we've had so far. The Dream Factory car has been retired. Stars and Stripes retired, first laps. Linio Lotto Racing, Pray for Pablo, V-Apex Racing Group Purple car, the Heisenfeld Core Motorsports number 66, the Team 10-10-10 car, the Heisenfeld Core Motorsports 99, Mad Cow's Muriel effort, the Petronas team effort, the Team GT Fuomo effort, the Kamel effort is a recent retirement. And then, of course, you've got some cars that are tons of lap downs, like the SimRC.de Camel Toe machine, which is 8 laps off your leader. It's been quite the race of attrition. It's only been, we're not even halfway, and we have got a total of about 35 cars circulating out of 47.
Yeah, we're just over the halfway mark, Cam, and well, to see 35 out of 47, you know, to see 12 retirees, it's not brilliant, but still, we have some great action that is going on, and something I have been keeping an eye out on is the fluctuating gap at the top of your GTP field, and that one has been moving around from about 12 to 16 seconds, now back at 16 seconds for the number 1 machine in second position. But right now, you have to feel, though, with what is going on, that there is always going to be an opportunity for certain drivers to go and impress. That P2, P3 battle now down to just a couple of tenths of a second in GTO, and right now, Trengaride is looking to set up a big move.
He is. GTP field is in 43 laps done in GTP. Kate Kashubi, he's gotten his service. He's staying in that machine. That car pulls away. Fabrice Cornelius hopping in the Benevolent Sim Racing without any color car. Marcus Hamilton seems to be staying in his GTP car. Joshua Chin, the Chimera car going by. That's one lap down, though, as Marcus Hamilton is looking to pull away. Here goes Fabrice Cornelius. He gets away first in that number 1 machine, pulling back onto the racing circuit in clean air. Marcus Hamilton in pursuit. So your leaders coming in here at lap 43 out of 78, and it looks to me, Jake, like these guys are going to have to make yet another stop.
They're going to have to, because of the track conditions. We said it was 40 degrees, and because of the fact that they're running these really, really quick laps, and we've had 47 vehicles here today, that track is rubbering in very, very quickly, making that surface all the more hotter and all the more interesting right now. And the big thing to look at, though, Hamilton was 5 seconds quicker on the stop overall. Battle for P7, though, going on out on circuit. Bushvink versus, I do believe that's the Gathering of Tweakers machine there of Nick Thyssen, and right now those two going at it. But what's very crucial, Cam, is the fact that on any other given day it's a 2-stop to the end with a little bit of fuel saving. Today it's a 3-stop.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 26, 26, 26 according to the quick feet that joined the chat after that turn 1 or that lap 1 incident. And if you are just joining us and wondering, well, what the heck has happened? A lap 1, we made it to about turn 3, and unfortunately the vehicle of Endeavor Sim Racing without any colors went to the inside of the Stars and Stripes machine, which was a bit unexpected, and that barely nipped the rear quarter panel, but it brought that GTP sideways from the 3rd position. And when you're 3rd position with the entire fleet all stacked up, it created a lot of incidents, a lot of crashing, and unfortunately quite a few retirements. And we've just been trying to pick it up ever since GTO. Everyone seems to have gotten away. They got into single file. The only incidents that we've seen that have really retired cars have been mostly self-done damage, but occasionally, like the Kamel car, we had an incident with the GTP car traffic. But you know what? I'd have to say, Jake, for the most part, lap traffic and whatnot is at least going decently well.
Decently well, but the battle for P2 overall in your GTP has closed right up. And that 5 seconds that was saved there by Marcus Hamilton, I think that's down to a fact of trying to save enough fuel from now to the end of the race to know that they can short fill on this stint to get themselves into this battle with Vendaval going on. Hamilton's been in the car since the drop of the flag. Fabrice Cornelis has not, so that's very crucial. And Cornelis has had the worst brunt of the traffic there as Andy Pers again in the middle of the road, making it very difficult for the driver Cornelis to get past. And now look at Marcus Hamilton all on the rear, and Cornelis, the youngster, the young Dutch driver, is now going to have himself quite a bit of a challenge in that Vendaval machine.
Speaking of challenges, a bit of lap traffic from that Jaro Via GTO machine has caused Nick Thyssen to make a bold attempt going through turn number 3. Didn't pay off at all, though. They're going down the not the start-finish line. They're going down the straight towards corner number 5. They'll find themselves on the rear of Delta iRacing in just a few moments, but Benjamin Perez and Nick Thyssen also putting on a great show. So we've got a couple of duels here, Jake, and it's going to be important to keep our eyes on them.
It certainly is, and when overtaking can at times be a premium, it's always going to be very, very difficult. Thyssen was incredibly close to that rear of Benjamin Perez, and Perez will breathe a sigh of relief as he pulls away in the Bushwink Racing red machine. Team Bushwink, they've been knocking around quite a bit, Cam, and that's something to keep in mind. They are very, very good when it comes to the quirkier vehicles, and well, they are certainly proving their stripes. P7 is a good result for them, considering the field strength right now.
Yeah, and it will be if they can maintain that position, as they'll go around the leader in GTO, Lucas Yustak, as both GTP cars make it late on the brakes as that Gathering of Tweakers Nick Thyssen machine. And it'll close right on up to the rear of Benjamin Perez once again. A little bit of traffic up ahead is the Torque Freak Racing Flat Schosh. I don't know what that means. What is flat skosh? Flat skosh? I don't know, but it means something. But either way, George Gruber, though, politely letting the GTP cars go onto the inside. And, you know, we've got quite a few German words here with these cars. As the Nissan of Nick Thyssen looks to pull the inside, massive overspeed as it goes side by side into quarter number one, almost has the entire position secured. But, Jake, we seem to have a lot of German flair with this Audi machine, perhaps not just because it's a German car, of course, not just because it is technically the sequel to the very famous Group B rally car that everyone can certainly remember, but it also, one of the most famous drivers of it, Hans Joachim Struck, piloted this machine for many years.
Yeah, he certainly did, and what a brilliant driver he was back in his heyday. And the next Joachim Strutz are certainly looking to try and ply their trade here at the moment. Drivers like Takanen, Trengarai, Jedstad, all doing a very good job of things. Plotman as well. They're all having this really nice run where they're keeping themselves out of trouble now in the second half of this race. But I'm still keeping my eye on this P2, P3 battle in GTP. Hamilton has caught, but the Murrayism has to come out, Cam. Catching is one thing, passing is most certainly another, and Cornelis, I think, is now back up to speed, which he needs to be, but what a good run from Hamilton coming out of corner 14.
Yeah, and here he'll get a draft. It won't be enough to cause the pass here, but you know what? He can fuel save, and that's going to be very important as time goes on for Beast Cornelius. We'll just post the car over to the side. You can actually start to see how the track is rubbering in as they go to Bastian Ramis, the Playing Ducks Racing / MIFCOM number 3, whatever that means. We don't normally say the full team name along like that, but you know what? It's the first time I've said you guys today, so shout out to you guys. But either way, for Beast Cornelius, he covered his position. He kind of said Marcus Hamilton, and so he went, well, okay, and just backed off very smartly. These guys don't, however, really seem to be catching Joshua Chin, which will be your lapped GTP car, actually. These guys don't really seem to be catching the leader, I meant to say, because lap times are so in tow.
Yeah, they certainly are, and the fact that these 153.6s, 153.2s, and 153.8s are being battered about right now. Keiko Shube has himself this 26-second gap, which he can afford to just sit and wait on and just hope that he can just keep himself fresh. The thing that they have to worry about, actually, though, in my opinion, Cam, is going to be this Christian Hewitt machine, because I believe that he came down a little bit earlier than others, maybe down on that lap 7, lap 8 scenario again. Came down in lap 25 and has been going on for about 20 laps, which is about on par what we need to see. He is now running in a scenario, though, which puts him very, very marginal here on lap 46 between now and the end of the race. The 23, though, is what we need to pay attention to right now. That's the Pit Demons machine, and it's down on pit road.
Yeah, it looked like they were having a grand old battle with the Red Face Racing solo machine, and I'm almost wondering perhaps if they might have been involved, the battle we were watching between Vaslav's machine of Nick Thyssen and Benjamin Perez. Benjamin Perez ended up getting spun around, and it looks to me, Jake, this incident, I mean, the Red Face Racing solo car just abandoned it immediately. He said, no, ow, I've got a bunch of runoff space. The Rufy Munoz piloted Pit Demons car, I'm not sure what they were thinking there.
No, nor me in that situation. I didn't quite catch all of it, but that was one which was really quite sketchy, and you need to be absolutely clear on where your vehicle is going to be placed no matter where you are on circuit. Don't move, don't leave any chance for doubt. Stay on your line cam, because that is the most crucial factor when it comes to racing like this.
And not just that, I mean, it looked to me like the GTP car, the GTO cars maybe perhaps went a little hotter because Perez was hanging off the back of Nick Thyssen. Thyssen was hanging off the back because there was a MXS Racing Team Audi. But Rufi Munoz, once they made that, there's a little bit of brief contact which sent the Bushfink car spinning. After that, the Pit Demons car didn't even put on its brakes, and it just kind of coasted. And it didn't put on its brakes until after it had already made contact with the now broadside Bushfink car. So if they just dragged their brake a little bit, they just could have driven around the rear of it. This isn't like me trying to micro-analyze this here, but it was so easy.
And the battle for P2 certainly hotting up side by side, and Hamilton will make his way through in the Frederick Evers, best team Evers Racing. Both of those drivers part of the Thrustmaster Movano outlet running the Frederick Evers formation right now, and what an easy move that was compared to himself and Fabrice Cornelis. Cornelis had nothing to fight with on the run to Canada Corner, and proof exactly why Canada Corner is such a vital overtaking opportunity.
It absolutely is, especially in these types of cars. We were talking earlier, they are not great for as they go around the Benjamin Perez Team Bushfink Racing red car, which is now pulling off of pit lane, unfortunately. But you got to think these cars, downforce. You know, you think of Indy cars, ground effects, the Lotus 79 type of cars. Canada Corner is a nice and easy. But just looking through it, I mean, your Audis, not able to take these corners. The GTP cars, they can take a corner like Canada Corner too wide. They can really push the limits just because they have the ability to basically either abort or engage at any point, whereas the Audis can't, which means that this racing circuit is almost an entirely different circuit compared to the Audis.
Exactly, and that's very crucial. And talking of those Audis, we've had a change for P2 there, as well as Joyful Unsteer have gone through on Team Joni Takkanen as well. The battle for P5, P6 though, that one halting up between Inex and Evolution Racing Team. Riley Blythe looking to get onto the back of the driver of William Levesque right now. And well, it's all about the game and certainly how you play it at the moment, because Levesque here is just trying to hold off Blythe. 56.9 meets 54.2. That's the big difference that we're looking at, and that's enough to say Levesque has already made his way through on Blythe.
Yeah, and just as looking through, they're heading towards that very quick, well, the very slow left-hander between the very quick Carousel. Carousel's a pretty unique one. When you think of Carousel, you think of the Nürburgring, but this one, very different. It's long, it's fast, 100 miles an hour. You're disengaging, re-engaging. Look to the number 52 machine, which is a Audi, and it's the MSP Phoenix Racing going side by side with the Super Sport Wagner car, as the other Phoenix Racing car finds himself in a battle over-under from Gresham Wagner. That 105 looking strong. You can hear the whistling of them going up through the gears.
Yeah, you certainly can, and the keys will jangle, and everyone will look to push that little bit further here. Wagner was very unlucky in VLN the last time we saw him driving an MX-5. Wants a bit of redemption here in the battle going on for position number 5 overall. Good run out to the final corner, will allow side by side in towards turn number 1, but he sits there and he waits on the driver of Gregory Tansen. He thinks about it, he moves a half a car length to try and force it to say, you know what, I could go and make this move if I wanted to. Very conservative though on the brakes there, Cam. Very useful to know Wagner is taking nothing for granted.
No, not at all, as they're putting their positionings. And, you know, it was a safe battling, I guess I should say. I don't think there's any such thing as safe positioning. But overall, I mean, these guys were being conservative. That's what we want to see, of course. We've still got a lot of this race left to go here. We barely just went over halfway for these Audis. Of course, that means for your GTP cars, we're already closing in on, we'll be lap 50 next time by, so which means that we'll have 28 laps to go, which is when you've got a minute and 53-second lap times, it'll still be a while, but gotta say, these guys being conservative, that's what we kind of want to see.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's no point trying to just go out for it hell for leather at this early stage. You've got to make sure that you bring the vehicle home. That's the most important thing about these special events. Finishing is part of the prize itself. And again, Gresham Wagner very close coming out of the hurry downs. Now around the carousel, holds up the driver of Riley Blythe quite a little bit, and that's going to mean that he drops a very, very huge amount of weight. And that is about 3 seconds lost there, Cam, in the space of one very long carousel. Dives one down to the inside. How did he make that happen?
Well, that is all downforce right there. These cars take that kink flat. And so these Audis, however, they're already under braking. So all Gregory Tansen had to do was brake more. All Riley Blythe had to do was maybe just go off throttle just a hair, maybe go on the brakes a little bit. Maybe put it down in gear, but either way they're making that work. They got themselves through that traffic, which is a bit risky. We have seen it not pay off. And here comes Dustin Hickman. He's on the inside. This is a car that is many, many laps down, as he'll just suck up the draft and go right on by. But either way, Jake, it's getting to that point. I think people are starting to space themselves out. The guys that are brand new and incoming here, actually, I see a little bit of dust coming off of what'll be the kink, and the Team Highball car has had an incident. The number 28, Andrew Bakke.
And there's a prototype turned around as well, so it's all kicking off here, Cam.
Yeah, Andrew Bakke, he ended up approaching the kink at 145 miles an hour, completely aborted the corner once he locked up, and he crashed into the wall doing about, I would say, maybe 90 miles an hour, yeah, 94 miles an hour. And
yeah.
799.
That's the camel toe.
Yeah, so that's the car that we just saw go by those GTO cars we were talking about. But well, either way, 2 cars that are going to be retired in both classes.
Yeah, and that's going to be a massive, massive shame for what has happened there between those. And, well, when you get a massive incident like that, you just hope that everyone is going to be safe and playing. But 2 more incidents to add to a very, very difficult pile of wounded vehicles and damage repair bills. You have to feel that today finishing is going to be a premium, Cam.
Absolutely. This looks to me like the 41 Takkanen has gone around, and the Canada corner. Did he have assistant? No, not at all. He just caught in the grass. I understand Audi Cross is coming, but it's Audi Outer Cross. Audi Cross. That's a new term. We'll have to call it that in the future. But Auto Cross is not here in the iRacing service yet, Yoni. So take it easy. He lost the rear, and that means that Joyful Understeer has now gotten a big gap. But yeah, that Team Highball, I wanted to reference it, but I don't have a spot to do it, so we have to shoehorn it into this. But that Team Highball was, of course, a rotary RX-8 that raced for many, many, many years. But either way, Christian Coit will come in his Heisenbelt number 78 as he'll come off, and away Michael Schroedler, I would have to say, as the Heisenbelt number 78, Jake gets its service, gets a little bit of repairs, and it'll be off the way. This is the first I think we've seen of a GTP car making its final pit stop.
It's very marginal here for this Hoytzenfeld machine. They've got to go 27 laps on the final stretch of fuel, and that is going to be so difficult for them to do. If you thought that 26 was so difficult for Baz Schlob and the Gathering of Tweakers machine to manage, that's something just to keep your eye on. I'm not sure they can make it to the end. I think they're also going to go for the splash and dash.
Yeah, perhaps. It is definitely... it's hard to judge how much fuel you're going to be using, going through traffic, going through everything else. If they can do these plans to have full race stints, they can do everything they need to do. But unfortunately, you just can't, there's nothing like the race. There's no amount of engineering you can do that'll replicate the race. So either way, Kei Kashubi, currently your leader. 22 seconds is Marcus Hamilton. 26 seconds is Fabrice Cornelius. 46 is that Heisenfeld Schroedler, William Levesque, and Riley Blythe. And then Nick Thyssen and Pit Demons Orange. Those are the cars that are on the lead lap right now in GTP. Jake, not a lot left standing after the start of this race.
No, let's get some words out. Not a lot left standing at all. In fact, Schroedler is 1 lap down in the Team Hoytzenfeld after making the final stop as things stand right now. But what you do have to feel is that in this situation, there are a lot of drivers who are feeling like they have something to prove, especially with the big announcement, Cam, of World's Fastest Gamer heading over to the iRacing service. That's going to be a big proving ground for a lot of drivers, and maybe even some that weren't even considering open formula.
Yeah, and it is exciting to see these great manufacturers coming around and sorting themselves out. You know, I gotta say, 1989 was a pretty good year, Jake, I'd have to say. It was a year before I was brought into this world, but I gotta say, there was a car made by that exact manufacturer that I would imagine, if I was a betting man, many individuals would like to see on the iRacing service.
Yeah, and being a betting man, I believe that you may win those sorts of bets, so I will refrain from trying to get myself into play in terms of that sort of betting area.
Yeah, I mean, that to have a McLaren Formula One car from the late 80s, I think that would make some people very happy. But either way, we're getting back here. We don't have a McLaren here. We've got a Nissan and an Audi, which, as far as sports cars go, some of the most dominant forces. George Brabham in his Nissan, Hans Joachim Stuck in his Audi. I mean, just drivers that are legendary now that we always reference in our minds and comparing drivers together. But here they were back in the late 80s in the twilight of the Group C, some of the fastest machines that have ever been raced, and we get to bring them here on iRacing. And I think that they.
Ooh, I believe that Marcus Hamilton has dropped back the position to the Vendaval #1 machine. I wonder where they've done that one, because that was over that last lap in a very, very interesting scenario, Cam.
Yeah, something has gone on here, but I'm not actually quite sure what. I was busy reflecting on all sorts of things, and I guess I sort of lost track. I don't necessarily know.
It was a spin. It was a spin. And they had Hellenic Racing just in front of them on lap 46 of the event. And, well, looking to try and get onto the power. Oh, torque oversteer too much into the rear wheels, and it just went.
And that is an easy thing to do. You got a big old turbo. You get through about maybe 30% of turn number, your 30% of your throttle input, and then your turbo kicks in, and well, I can say it is an easy thing to loop.
It certainly is, and when you certainly don't have that downforce levels at low speed, it is a very, very tricky vehicle to handle. It's like trying to sort out a gearbox when you've got two pieces of pasta and a bit of spaghetti to try and work with, or some other analogy that's almost impossible to describe. It's been that difficult between those sorts of drivers. Montaner, though, I was just having a look compared to the Gathering of Tweakers machine, and Baz Slob now trying to get behind the wheel.
Yeah, and so more pit stops, as there goes the Riley Blythe piloted Evolution Racing Team 226. He will end up being in the car till the end of this race. Baslav will be finishing out the racing duties here in his GTP machine. He has a couple of cars continuing their press. As many cars, I'd say the pit stops are a trickle at this point.
Yeah, certainly is a trickle from time to time, but now with everyone thinking about those final stops, looking to get themselves back home, look at that driver of Riley Blythe trying to get past. Actually, now he is lap traffic here compared to Fabrice Cornelis, so this could be a very cheeky scenario, because you've got two battles into one. You've got Blythe and Schottler, and bookending either side right now, Cam, is the Hamilton-Cornelis battle that's going on for P2, P3. Fantastic as the 226 and the 78 now still looking to get at it here in this battle. You feel that it's all about who closes down the quickest, and Blythe certainly has a great turn of pace at the moment.
Yeah, he does, and of course these are all, I believe, split by quite a bit of time here, as it is how the timing screen is looking on my screen. So it's Vendaval and Evers, and then you would have your Riley Blythe and Michael Schottler battle, but it's just look at how fast they're taking that kink there. Good thing they didn't catch that Playing Ducks Racing machine in the middle of that kink. That would have sent everybody all sorts of around. And Baslav also, can't forget, he's in the distance just enough as they go past that Playing Ducks Racing car, Jake. So it's just a trying to figure out exactly how you're going to plan this thing out, because I think it can really set yourselves up for some hot laps if you push. The problem is that when you do push, you risk immensely having an incident that we saw earlier.
Yeah, you certainly do, especially actually in your Audi category right now, because GTO, Joyful Understeer, did a 2:11.9 the last time by. Comparison for Joni Takinen, he did a 2:08.5, so he closed down 3.4 seconds on that last lap, and there's the visible marker cue for Takinen. P2 battle not over yet.
No, not at all, as the GTO battle seems to be, it'll probably go for the entirety of this race. It's for 16th position overall. That's for good enough for P2 in GTO, because that MSP Phoenix Racing 85, Lucas Jasnak, he is just running away with this event in that GTO field. Now we got to remember, the GTO field did not have the incidents that we saw earlier on, like the GTP did. As looking at it, the number 105 machine, that's your Super Sport racing machine, and your Gregory Tansen car are still going at it as they go through the carousel. But the GTO field, they got away clean, Jake. They went single file, and so this is what we would consider a more true or proper race. Whereas the GTPs had that very incident-filled lap 1 incidents. They've since been scattered about. GTO, though, they're on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, GTO have been very much the more behaved category, you could argue, in some sort of respects. It's always difficult with two categories because you talk about the GTO, and normally when it comes to these two vehicle contacts, it's normally the slower one that's normally to blame. Sometimes the quicker vehicle can be a little bit too aggressive, as I'm looking at the driver of Maximilian Schneider in the Cucumber StimRC.de machine, almost trying to be a bit too aggressive into the final corner. It's about patience and waiting and making sure that you just get the vehicles home. The difference in time is about 6 laps difference already, and I expect them to be lapped maybe 2 more times between now and the end of the race on the 2-stop strategies that they're all looking to try and apply.
Yeah, Lucas Jasnak is on lap number 50. Heisenfeld Core Motorsports lap 56. So just as you're saying, that checks out. Either way, though, it won't be too long. Actually, car is off. Jamie Wilson, Team Chimera car. He has just gotten into that car. This lap, that Team Chimera car, looping it. Will it have been on his own? Yes, it will entirely. And so Jamie Wilson's first lap, not necessarily the grandest of one, but I will say, Jake, he didn't damage the car. That's important.
That's very important. He was all over that curb coming out of the hurry down section and heading towards the carousel. You do not want to be mounting any of these curbs, especially with the middle of this vehicle, especially with the Nissan and its center of gravity. The moment that you unsettle its center of gravity, it's pretty much going to want to turn itself around very, very quickly, as I'm still looking at the driver of Fabrice Cornelis, as he was struggling to get past Bob van Katwijk in the Bob van Katwijk team, and now Marcus Hamilton will now have to feel the same woes.
Yes, he will. Meanwhile, the battle in GTO between Gresham Wagner and Gregory Tansen will come into view, as here comes Cornelius on the outside heading towards the kink. Is he going to get caught? Gresham Wagner's going to have to take the kink. He has to cut to the inside curb. If he wants any chance of making it, he will. The GTP cars of Riley Blythe and Marcus Hamilton have to back on off. They managed to work their way through, so GTO, GTP traffic working their way through. Here comes Marcus Hamilton on the brakes. He did not have to hold up at all through the kink. And Jake, that is going to show you just exactly how playing this traffic can come into its own. But whatever seems to go your way one lap seems to come back the other guy's way the next.
Yes, it certainly does. It's about trying to play that dance and making sure that you know when to tango and when you need to be a little bit more reserved. As down onto pit road, rolling its way in is the Audi Sport Team Gebrauchtwagen Plus machine. So now we're starting to see here the pit stop window open now for GTO, and that's going to be crucial as Hellenic Racing comes out. So when that 85 decides to dive down to pit road, that's going to be a very, very crucial factor overall in this race.
It is, and we've seen already developed multiple pit strategies. Some damage began. Some were simply due to the where they managed to find themselves. They didn't want to deal with traffic. But Merrick Montaner will pull out in his number 73, and so he'll be on his final pit stop. Will Heisenfeld Core Motorsports come in? I don't think it's a matter of if, but when. Jake, that number 33 car has been out for a grand total of 14 laps. So they can run maybe 10 more laps, Kei Kashibi can, which would put them around lap number 67. So I think that it is all but confirmed that your front-running cars are going to be the cars that are running towards the end right now on a Splash and Dash.
Certainly is. There was no way that a two-stop strategy was going to work, especially in these conditions. Battle for P2, though, in GTP. That's where all the money is, you'd feel right now, between Vendaval, without any colour, and the Frederick Evers best team Evers Racing right now. They are finally nose to tail once again, and Hamilton is proving why he was such an asset over the last 3 years for Friction and now for Movano, and now part of this Frederick Evers best team Evers Racing. Sort of fun team, you could argue, in some respects, because Marcus Hamilton has been putting in the lap times that he needed to close down Cornelis, and now that gap of 0.8 of a second looks a lot less, and Cornelis, for the second time in this event now, is going to be under a lot of pressure. 0.4 of a second the gap.
I can tell you right now, as yes, he is closing in very much. I can tell you, I feel really bad for Marcus Hamilton. The team name is Frederick Evers, best team Evers, but there's no Frederick Evers on the roster, so it's just Marcus Hamilton. So Marcus Hamilton, who is good looking to take advantage of that the damaged car of Kamel as they will go side by side, but there's going to be another Audi. A little bit more traffic coming through. It's like a video game trying to pull through those really slow cars as they are battling. As Fabrice Cornelius will end up taking the position. This is a video game, by the way. As here comes Marcus Hamilton on the outside, which will then become the inside, going underneath the Corvette bridge. He will just use the heft of that Nissan GTP ZX Turbo to sort of take the space away from a previous Cornelius. Cornelius will go down a position, but will check it to the inside. He's going to have to leave room on the outside. Picks up a bunch of sand as Marcus Hamilton. Not like the Quattro, it can't just take off. They go into the carousel. Breathing room now, but they've got a couple more GTO cars to go through.
Yes, and that's P2, P3 in GTO being overtaken by P2, P3 in GTP. So these two still looking on this battle, but Cornelis now may start to drop back as Ove gets out of the way very nicely as they head their way through. But now it's about when they go through. Oh, big crash for Jürgen Frank in the SimRC.de Crimson Machine on the run towards the final corner, and that was a huge one for the 797.
Yeah, 797 on the replay right now. The SimRC cars, they look great, but unfortunately, that only does so much for them. Cut the curbing. Nothing really else to say there, but Jürgen Frank going to continue in that racing machine, and will continue, will Marcus Hamilton to grow the gap between him and Fabrice Cornelius. And yes, here comes one GTO car, but his partner, Joyful Understeer, does not join him.
No, he doesn't, so that's very crucial. Down in comes Joni Takinen for his final stop of the day, and coming in early will mean that he will look for the undercut to get himself back into track position. He's been working hard after his big sideways moment, shall we say, to get back into play, and getting back into play is the crucial factor of this event, as now looking to get himself going again. Takinen needs just the perfect final stint, and everything that has happened to him today will be forgotten.
Yeah, and I mean, I will just say, some of these guys, I think they just went, you know what, we'll run it, and then they just went with whatever team name that they had available. But some people are very clever, like your Team Highball and all that. But some just, I think Team 10-10-10-10, or whatever it is, that one was pretty good. I still don't know what Muriel was. Whatever it is, it's gone. I think they're barbecuing it in the back. But some of these team names, Jake, are pretty clever. Others, of course, your traditionally your INX, your Evolution Racing teams. But I will say, you know, I see there's a team Bear Poke. When did they show up? Well, they've been here the entire race. They're running currently in 22nd position, which is good enough for 8th in your GTO. There's so many cars. It's been so difficult. But either way, Team Bear Pope getting service.
Yeah, Team Bear Pope down on pit road, getting that service to look to get back out and racing again. Very crucial as Jürgen Frank decides to come down in onto pit road as well. But this is a very crucial part of the time as the MSP Phoenix Racing 85 decides to stay out another lap here with that commanding lead that we have seen so often they've had in this event. Also down in Marcus Hamilton, final stop of the day. You would feel it's early on lap 59, but I believe they can make it down back in. They've only got to make it 78, but it is lap 60, so it's a 28 lap stop, 18 lap stop even, shall I say. My maths here at what is 11:30 my time. So Marcus Hamilton, the short fill to get track position, now may come back to bite them.
Perhaps, but you know what? I think he's going to come in. He's probably getting about 10, 15, 20 seconds of fuel, and he will be out and away. And also, I see a car behind him pulling away. That is, I believe, one of those Sim RC cars. Yep, Jürgen Frank there. So we'll see here as looking at the battle in GTO, however, Joyful Understeer comes into pit road, and where will he come out compared to Team Joni Takanen? Who knows? Either way, looking to come out is Marcus Hamilton. This is a full pit stop. I think he's getting tires. He's getting the whole...
Wow.
He's getting the whole service. 33 seconds to get this full service compared to everyone else in a full pit stop is 36, or maybe 45 seconds. That's a really long time, I'd have to say, for that GTP car to sit on pit lane, but Marcus Hamilton's got his fuel. He will be good to the end of this race.
That's a big mistake from Marcus Hamilton. He needed to try and short fill on that final stint because he needed to get to the end. But that's so crucial for the overall that he may have just lost second position by that one admission alone. Battle though coming off, and Takanen's got the jump. What a fantastic outlap he's had. Ove had nothing against him, and well, Joni Takanen put him back up into net P2 once again, Cam.
Yeah, and the battle going on between Gregory Tance and Gresham Wagner still kicking off the 105 versus the 52. As here comes one of the GTP machines, Fabrice Cornelius. But either way, the MSP Phoenix Racing 52, they are still going at it strong, as I think pit lane is becoming a very busy place.
It certainly is, as Lucas Jedstad is also down onto lane. He'll hit his box first as he looks to get through, and I believe that Klotman's been on the pit lane for at least 9 laps, so that's 3 laps, so I believe that he is out of the event from what was position number 5 overall. Jedstad in though, and so will Cornelis. So where will the Frederick Evers Best Team Evers Racing come out in comparison? You feel that's the one that you need to focus on the most for Marcus Hamilton. He's now heading himself into Canada corner, turn number 12, out on circuit. Wagner and Tansen, the battle that's going on just in front. He needs to navigate at the worst time. Vehicle off. That is the Delta iRacing team, Isaac Olive, behind the wheel of that. He gets round 1 though, does Hamilton. He'll look to get around a second, but he's held up in the mid part of the corner. Get yourself out and going again. You'd feel now you need to here for Brice, and well, for Cornelis and the Vendaval team, it's long, it's waiting a bit more. Here comes Marcus Hamilton, and I think thank you very and much. That's game over for Cornelis.
It absolutely is a very important moment of this motor race. I have to say, another one that I have just seen from Gerard Caroni. We saw Caroni earlier on having an incident with an Audi. Coming off of the exit of corner number 3, he had 2 Audis, and well, he did something that I have to say I have not seen yet, Jake. He managed to go 3 wide, and it was so very frightening to watch Gerard Caroni go between these 2 guys. Anything. That is probably the widest part of this track, and there was nothing on either side.
Exactly, that's how difficult the circuit is. Kay Kashube, though, for the Hoyts and Velcor Motorsports team with 2 retirees. The battle of numbers. Kashube has been dominant at the front of the field. Final stop. He's lined that vehicle up to get himself back going as quickly as he can, and he's had himself that 20-second gap time after time after time again. And Kay Kashube, he hasn't put a foot wrong all day, and it's what you need to expect from Kay Kashube, especially in such difficult vehicles as these.
Absolutely. Complete and necessary to have a full kit of skill, as we got to watch on board with that 3-wide battle. But for Kay Kashube, that number 33 car hasn't put a foot wrong, hasn't had any pressure, we have to remember, Jake. The cars that we would expect, almost clipping the inside pit wall on the exit. He'll find himself cutting out just ahead of an Audi, but we got to remember, Jake, of course, the cars that were going to be battling him. Lineal Loto Racing, Stars and Stripes, which is your Keith Ritchie piloted car, your Dream Factory machine, which would have been Alex Q, who were all very quick machines, ended up not being involved in this due to that incident.
Yeah, they certainly have done. And to give a little bit of comparison, an earlier race I was looking at in the Kamel GT series finished with those 3 drivers that you mentioned, Cam, positions 1, 2, and 3. So talk about those 3 drivers in caliber, that is all 3 of those drivers completely out of the game and has completely changed what we see in this event. And for Kashube, he hasn't really had too much challenge here in this Nissan, and he would feel that he may have wanted a bit more of a challenge, but over 2 hours, I think that Kei Kashube has been the most dominant driver, and there aren't many people in the world who can challenge Kei Kashube.
No, it doesn't seem to matter the car. I'd like to see him do one race in the GTP car and another race in the GTO car.
Yeah.
Just to see how he would do. But either way, though, Kei Kashube, he's hitting about maybe 165 through the kink, and you know what? I think he's having a good day. I don't think he would have liked to have seen in his mirrors, which, well, let's be real here, he really wouldn't have seen, because the mirrors on the GTP car are essentially non-existent. It is just thoughts and prayers, really, just control it just as your spotter, because those mirrors are fairly useless. But either way, though, if he did manage to catch that incident developing on the exit of corner number 3 on lap 1, maybe he breathed a sigh of relief for a few seconds and then probably lamented it, because you know what, in watching the lead battles here, when you get the fastest guys in the series together and you really give them these cars and a track and a full field of Audis to work through, they can put on a darn good show. But I will say here at the Road America 500 on iRacing Live and RaceSpotTV, Jake, it has been at least a very decent show.
Yeah, it certainly has. We've certainly seen some great battles going on as Kei Kashube will now look to pass the Pit Demon's orange machine as a form of lap traffic. Still got battles, though, going out on circuit here. Bushfink Racing in red with Benjamin Perez, with the Gathering of Tweakers machine of Baz Schlob just in front. Schlob looking to go for the 2-stop. Benjamin Perez very, very firmly on the 3-stop, you would imagine, in this situation, and probably does need to come down sometime soon. So this battle will dissipate in the next few laps. But Gathering of Tweakers here, currently in position number 6 overall, has that potential to gain a couple of positions potentially, but the crucial factor is it's very much 2-tier racing at the moment.
It very much is. I will say, looking on the horizon, this had come up a couple of times in the chat, the Gathering of Tweakers car appears to be the only one that is going to actually properly make 2 pit stops. As looking, I believe the Gathering of Tweakers car is in dueling range of the Team Bushfink car. So that battle kicking off as they go past the GTO traffic of it'll be George Gruber and Yoni Hagner, 2 cars that are not fighting for position. But for Baz Schlob, that Gathering of Tweakers car, they came into pit. They've got 10 laps this time by, which will put them, that'll probably, if my math is correct, they've got another 15 laps of fuel with what will be about, I'd say, 13, 14 laps to go.
Yeah, very well done from them. They have been a little bit slower, but what they've sacrificed in pace, they've certainly made up for in being fuel whisperers here today, Cam, and you can't argue against that logic. They have been fantastic from first minute to last in the fact of saving fuel. The overall pace, though, that's something they've had to sacrifice in terms of this scenario, but something I do want to keep an eye out on is where drivers are coming out in comparison to other drivers right now, and you would feel after the final stop that I believe that Inex Racing have had, they have suddenly worked themselves up into a 4th position here.
Yeah, and the 17 car, the Revolution Racing car, piloted by Elliott Skier, the Californian, normally an extremely quick driver. In the Audi, well, today, a bit tamed. I think when you get some of the fastest drivers in the iRacing service, and that is not, that's not us promoting, Jake. That is quite a very literal assessment. Some of the fastest drivers in the entirety of the iRacing service here today. You know, some of the series specialists, like Elliott Skier, perhaps a little bit pushed to the side, just simply because they're just so skilled, those fast guys. But Elliott putting on a good show. The Californian, he used to run in the Kamel GT series that we used to run on RaceSpotTV for the very first season. But oddly enough, funny thing, he actually had to cease racing with the series because of the hour change. The change from Eastern Standard to Eastern Daylight shifted the hour to where out in California he was still at work.
Yeah, and that's always something that drivers are looking for, is the opportunity to race, and if it falls outside of your window, well, tough cookie, you got to try and work around it, but he certainly has shown that he's got some very, very good battling underneath him and a very good race pace to keep himself in play throughout this event. And well, right now you have to feel that the battling is drying up, but something that I've kept an eye out on is that Inex Racing 144, is that driver of William Levesque, because he is actually actually closing down that gap ever so slightly on Fabrice Cornelis. And if Cornelis is not careful, 5 seconds will be gobbled up in the blink of an eye.
Oh, it certainly can. One car you catch at the kink, and it's, you know, it over just like that. Battle right now between Team Bear Pope and Plain Ducks Racing Mifcom number 3 from Bastien Remis. He pulls alongside KCJ Seymour. KCJ Seymour, another regular in the Kamel GT series, as they'll continue to go side by side through what will be the last couple of corners here. He'll have the position over Bastien Remis, and he will go now through into the final corner, corner number 14. So you know what? Let's go RaceSpotTV fan immersion on the number 11. The position 23, which is good enough for about P10 in the Audi. He will look to get past KCJ Seymour in the Team Bear Pope car, and we'll go RaceSpotTV fan immersion. Lap times across the board, it is a 209.2 versus a 209.3 between these two cars, but they're pulling side by side into corner number 1. And Bastien Remis will have the position, but for now, but here comes KCJ Seymour once again. He'll have to back out, and Jake, we have an engine expiring on the racing circuit.
Yeah, we certainly do here, and it's Van Katwijk who has been caught out by it. It was a blow towards the hurry downs, and well, that's going to be not a hurry down, but a slow down, and that's going to be the end of Van Katwijk's race there. And what a shame, because he was running a very, very consistent pace there in the middle of the pack, and well, it's going to be all she wrote.
Indeed, this battle still rolling on between Bastien Remis and KCJ Seymour. They've passed each other like 3 times. We picked a great time to pick up on this battle. Again, it's for 22nd overall, but it's for 8th, well, for 7th. On the racing circuit for GTO, and these guys are seriously going at it. And I have to say, these GTO cars, when they're just here, if we had a race where it was just the GTO cars, I think we would have an amazing race. If we had just the GTP cars, I think we could have an amazing race. When you put them together, it becomes a very interesting race because everyone has to fight around each other, but sometimes these GTO cars, they get a little lost compared to the GTP fighting.
Yeah, they certainly can do at times, and especially with these battles, they certainly open up and then close again, Cam. That's the difference of being lap traffic, because you have to slow down and let the quicker car through, and then you have to be on the ball to stay on the rear of the driver that you're fighting with. It's so difficult at times to continue to consistently battle time after time after time, so you just got to hope that you can get that little bit of clean space, which they have at the moment, to really go at it hammer and tongs for the next few laps. I was keeping an eye on the battle between Cornelis and Levesque for you. 54.4 meets a 53.5. There's a second locked off. That gap comes down and is now 3.4 seconds, Cam.
Yeah, and continuing on this lovely race here, as a couple of other battles going on, I think, but it's important to just kind of keep track of where everybody is. People are closing in on each other, as Jake, you were talking about. I think Jamie Wilson, after that spin, I think he straightened out that number 54 Nissan. I got to say, the Team Chimera, I'm not here to judge, but the Team Chimera car, I don't think I've really ever understood the hazard stripes. Maybe it's just because here, I don't know how fire trucks and ambulances look over in Europe, but or England, but whenever I see those stripes, these are just like the emergency vehicle chevrons, and I'm not sure if I'm a hugest fan of these things.
No, I'm not sure either, and well, I come from this European area, but it comes
neat.
down... It is, so it may be a warning, maybe it's a crash test dummy sort of thing, but you have to say that, you know, Team Chimera, they have been a bit unfortunate with the driver, Josh Chin, especially in the early goings, and I think they had more potential than what they maybe were showing in the early going, so they have really struggled right now to begin with, but to get to the end with the likes of 10, 11 laps to go here in the race right now, 10.5 if your name's Kate Schube. It's about just getting yourself home, and the lights are flashing on Levesque's vehicle right now as he brings the gap down by yet another second out on circuit. So now he's looking to get Hewitt out of the way, and now there's no traffic for both drivers.
That's a great thing. I like it when there's no traffic, because then we get to see them fighting sometimes. But I will say perhaps the Chimera chevrons are a warning is to not run into us, because that seems to be a habit sometimes, especially in the Neo series. They manage to find themselves getting in incidents that have nothing to do with them. So maybe perhaps that as well. But either way, though, these battles that are closing up, Jake, are hopefully going to be exciting. Your GTO car is on lap 61 of 78. Your GTP car is on lap 68 of 78. We've got 10 laps to go here, Jake. After 2 hours and 10 minutes of racing, that's going to put our race time at about 2 hours and 35 minutes, I would imagine.
It certainly would, and it's not over in the battle going on in GTO for position number 2 as Joyful Understeer are closing back in Joni Takkanen right now here. And well, Ove has just found something in these last few laps. He's brought the gap down to about a second and a little bit. If he can bring it to within 1 second, he's got a great chance of getting himself back home and back dry as well for P2. What a great battle it's going to be for both spots on the podium as Levesque very, very quickly is trying to close down Cornelis, but again, 10 laps, that's not long at all for Levesque to close down what is a 3-second gap.
No, just 10 laps. And interesting thing to note here, the electromotive engineering machine, which is not here, so don't look for it. The electromotive engineering machine piloted by Jeff Brabham, they finished this race in 2 hours, 45 minutes, and 36 seconds. So we'll see here just how long it takes for our race to finish here, Jake.
Yeah, and the 8 machine's actually been involved with Kei Kashubi out on circuit. So the 8 machine is going to be, it's at the kink, so that's the Audi Sport Team machine. So big incident with Klotman. Let's get a replay of this on screen. We've already caught it, but a huge moment there with the Audi Sport Team, and that is one that you can't afford to have.
No, and again, the Audi needs the entire kink. Again, it's like 125 miles an hour. For Kei Kashubi, I don't know how he managed to at least keep his suspension. That car crashed right into him. He managed to hug that thing. Cohen Klotman, he had a massive incident as we go back to live pictures here, GTO P2. But for Kei Kashubi, how did he escape that one is the question.
I don't know. All logic extends to him being in a ditch somewhere and crying over the fact that he's lost himself a lead of 35 seconds. Not this time. He's got away with one, and he is so lucky that he has done, because all logic intended for that to be damage. And well, I hope there isn't any karma in sorts of forms at times, but you know, to still have that lead, it's a mystery battle for P2 though. Takkanen is now under a lot, and I mean a lot, of pressure right now from Ovi.
Yeah, that number 41 Audi is not in trouble. The lap times are very consistent, I'd have to say, but they're very not as quick. I can't say slow. They're not slow. Nobody is slow in top split here. But they just are losing time hand over fist. Joni Takkonen is to Ovi Trengarids, as Trengarids, the Scandinavian driver, is hunting down Joni Takkonen, the Finnish driver. So battle of, if I'm correct, the Scandinavia being what would be considered in the Nordic battle group, but the Nordic, the battle of the Nordic drivers here, and you know what? That's, I think, very proper. This car seems to have been a big hit with the Audi sport team that ran these cars, and they were in part to the drivers from that area, from those areas.
Yeah, they certainly have been, and that battle is fantastic. Keep an eye also on the P3, P4 battle in GTP. That's down to 1.2 seconds, and Levesque is closing like a man possessed. But the 41, side by side they'll go. Ovi to the inside at turn 1, and thank you very much. P2 is his for now.
For now, nobody will try into corner number 3. You don't try into corner number 3 because you end up ruining your run into the corner number 5. Now, how do you get from corner number 3 to corner number 5? There is the most mildest of, I wouldn't even call it a turn. You're not even really turning directly. You're just shifting the weight of the car, really. That head down towards corner number 5. Nobody said that America was perfect. I certainly don't believe that, especially in today's world. But you know what? We one thing that we don't do very well, Jake, is turning rate.
Oh my word, and Levesque with the big change of direction goes down to the outside to make the move. Holds on the outside, big oversteer moment for Canellis, and he loses the position. Levesque with the pass of the century, and the Canadian, oh Canada, has done it at Canada corner.
Maybe the Canadians could do better at naming the numbers, but either way, though, William Levesque doing an amazing job to shift the momentum of that car. Speaking of Canada, well, it's the Canadian making it happen in the Canada corner. He makes it work, and Fabrice Cornelius, he has time, though. He has time to recover, though he is down by about, I'd have to say, a second. It's a full second between the number 144 William Levesque and Fabrice Cornelius, but either way, though, I think at this point it's pretty clear Marcus Hamilton is going to get away with position number 2 unless something happens, so might as well go for it. Might as well fight for those positions. You called it, Jake. William Levesque was closing in. Now he's gotten by.
He certainly has. I don't think he'll catch Frederick Evers, best team Evers racing with Marcus Hamilton behind the wheel, but don't count out this battle here in P2 GTO, because Takkonen, although he was dropping back, he now has the toe, which is the great equalizer around this circuit, even though he was dropping off a bit. Just compare the lap times between the two. 2:08.8 beats 2:08.1. That was including the overtake. This next lap is going to be so crucial for these two drivers.
And I will say, your leader, a 153.007. Your car in position number 3, a 153. So Levesque is driving faster, but he's got a long time to catch up. I mean, we've got, it will be 4 laps to go this time, as Kei Kashubi has gone across the start-finish line. And I have to wonder, 7 laps to go? No.
78 lap race, Cam.
78, so it's 4. Okay, yeah, okay, all right. So either way, though, it is getting to be that time where the time is starting to get to the point where you can't really make it up a 10-second gap. Doesn't matter how fast you are, in case somebody makes a mistake going through the traffic. And alternatively, for the battling that we've seen in GTO, if the GTPs have an effect on this race, that will be very unfortunate. But I will say, we still have fighting for the podium going on in GTO.
Yeah, we certainly do. It's a brilliant fight indeed, as Ove is looking to try and just break away and just try and just get Joni Takkonen off of his rear end, and it is seeming to work right now. Takkonen is falling back, and that might just be enough from now to the end of the race that P2 is out of sight for the driver of Joni Takkonen. Well, Ove, you have to say hats off to him, a driver that not many people would have thought had a really good opportunity, but my, is he proving himself here today with a P2 finish.
Yeah, he absolutely is, and just a little bit on the radar here. The number 4 car, Frederick Evers, best team Evers, Marcus Hamilton machine, might be fuel saving. I don't know. It's just a bit of a hunch. Let me take a look at the numbers here. 12 laps in. No, I mean, he had a 33-second pit stop. He should have fuel to the finish. That shouldn't be a worry. But a 154.2, perhaps traffic influence. Inex Racing is number 144, a 152.6.
Fastest car on track.
Fastest car on track indeed, Jake. And, you know, well, we said it was 10 seconds. I didn't think there was enough time. I mean, he keeps closing down the gap here. We might have a fight for P2 at the end of this.
A second and a half every single lap here for what is going to be the next 5 laps, or 6 laps even, out on circuit. He's got to have perfect traffic, which he's not got right now. He moves to the inside, so he is behaving, but he is offline now for this Bill Mitchell bend with Bastien Ramiz and the Playing Ducks Racing MIFCOM 3 machine. It's got to be a second and a half from now to the end of this race, because that gap was at about 7.5 seconds, so Levesque will look to cross the line around about now, and he does himself a 153.8. Compare that to the 54.2, 0.4 of a second. That's not going to cut it, and now that gap is ever longer. I believe Levesque is too far back.
A massive slide from the rears, just stint lengths. These tires should all be fine, so no need to worry about that. But the Gotta say, looking up to the front, 73 laps complete for the Heisenbelt Core Motorsports machine. 37 seconds is the distance between position number 1 and position number 2. Down in GTO, currently it is still MSP Phoenix Racing 85. He broke away. He now has a 47-second gap. That is a massive amount of distance between Lucas Yestok and position number 2's vehicle of Ove Trengarid. And then, of course, Joni Takkanen in 3rd. These guys are right close to each other, Jake, so we've still got to fight for the podium. And if anything were to go wrong, 11 seconds back is MSP's Phoenix 52 car. So if any one of these guys have an issue or an incident, we might have two MSP Phoenix cars on the podium of GTO. And
what a great result that would be for the MSP German team outlet as they look to try and close down those gaps. But for Takkanen, he's keeping himself in play. 2:08.2 again, meets a 2:08.3, gained a 1/10 of a second. Part of that was down to the lap traffic, so in terms of Takkanen, what he wants, he's got to just play smart. Now here comes the vehicle now heading itself through. That will be Banschlob and the Gathering of Tweakers machine. That will look to try and push the vehicle of Trengarid out of the way, but Trengarid is now having to dictate his own traffic right now and do what he wants to do rather than what the GTPs want to do, and that's very crucial because Takkanen knows that it's perfect driving right now from Trengarid.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the GTP field has gotten strung out enough to where you're only dealing with an occasional interruption. Normally, early on in the race, we were dealing with cars every lap, both sides, 3 wide. But nowadays, it has gotten a little bit clearer with how many GTPs have retired, which has been many. It's gotten to that point where, you know what, these GTO drivers can really focus on their lines. That's why we've been seeing such a great battle for position 2 and 3. Meanwhile, Frederick Evers, last lap it was a 154.3, Inex a 154.0, so 0.3, but still quite the gap. That is a grand total, I believe, of
6.9.
Yeah, 6.5, 6.9. So, and then between him and Inex Racing, it's only 4 seconds. So, Inex Racing, though, that has been a great second half performance for that 144, Jake.
It certainly has. Started 8th, made its progress up through the field. In fact, you have to actually give kudos actually to the Evolution Racing team as well, because they're in P5, started 22nd out on the grid, plus 17 in your GTP. If there's a driver of the day candidate, Riley Blythe surely has to be one of them.
Certainly drove around that wreck, but the battle for P2 in GTO still kicking off here. Oh, Trengarden? No, it's Trengarid is going past the start-finish line on their lap number 66, heading on to lap number 67 around the Road America circuit, as here comes Joni Takkanen. He will back it off. And no surprise there. You don't want to go too wide into corner number 1. Corner number 1 seems to be very bad for these Audi cars. They just don't seem to be able to really be able to throw it in there like those GTP cars.
No, they certainly can't. With not long left, Takkanen needs to find the killer blow to to make sure that there is no chance of respite for Trengaride. He's there waiting and he's moving along with him. The weaving starts to begin and only light movements here from Ove, who is racing very clean. Takkanen thinks about it but thinks against it. Big wiggle as he tries to turn in. Is that driver of Ove, Trengaride right now. Traffic behind them has to worry. Jurgen Frank, CMRC.de Crimson. Takkanen has a look up into 7 and again is unable to make anything happen.
152.7 driver William Levesque, that INX Racing 144, working his way around some traffic. He has had a barnstormer. It took off almost 2 full seconds from Frederick Evers' best Team Evers car. And if he can keep that pace up, my goodness, are we going to have an explosive finish to this race? Hopefully not literally. But either way, though, good racing for position number 2 in GTO as well. Whoever's sitting on that second position in the podium is going to feel like they came away with a race win because of just how much action they have had to deal with here, Jake.
Yeah, they certainly do. And, well, for the driver of William Levesque, it's now 1.3 seconds a lap. He must close on Marcus Hamilton, and what a drive this would be for William Levesque to get back to position number 2 in this scenario. And Levesque is just leaving everything on the circuit, and Hamilton has caught the P2 battle, so he's going to be held up now through this final corner. That's crucial. He now gets himself going because he's got no control over his destiny. That was all in Ove's hands, and Levesque will close another 2 seconds and will have the more favorable part of the circuit to go close that down. The gap, it was at 4 seconds. Now, look at that gap right now, 152.9. That will close down a lot on a 55.6.
Yeah, I mean, it is a massive gap that has developed. And here comes William Levesque. This is actually a bad section to catch these cars. This is going to end up ruining. Oh, he'll go as hard on the brakes onto the inside. That'll sort of ruin his exit onto the second longest straight here at Road America as he works his way down under the Sargento Bridge. And looking at Marcus Hamilton, he's actually going to catch Jason Margell of the MXS Racing Team in a very bad position. He's just waiting and waiting and waiting. Now, to be fair, this section shouldn't be that bad. The Audi has a good exit. Marcus Hamilton goes to the inside, so he has only lost a little bit. But William Levesque, that is just getting bigger and bigger, Jake, in the mirrors of Marcus Hamilton's GTP car.
You can actually see him. The visible evidence is there. Hard down to the inside, then at the end of the hurry downs, and he makes sure that he gets himself that position on Marichal. Now he has the ideal line heading through the carousel, and Hamilton will be feeling the pressure as he has done so many times before in his long and storied sim racing career. William Levesque is closing down that gap, and Inex, after what was a very good 2016 as well, like Hoytingveld, have started to dial back a bit in 2017. This would be a great second place if they can get that. Also the battle for P2 in PTO, or whatever it's called right now. I'm not really too fussed. Takkanen's dropping back again, but it's now on Levesque's shoulders, and there's just 2 laps to go.
Grand Touring Open, my friend. Grand Touring Open. But either way, or no, actually I lied. That's not it. It's GTO for GT Over, which is over, I believe it was like 2-liter displacement or something like that. And GTU was like 2-liter under displacement. Either way, that's a completely irrelevant. We have got a great battles. We got the battle of the podiums here. The leaders have sort of worked their way through as we're closing in on what will be coming the last lap, as Kei Kashubi is on lap number 77. Of 78. He's working his way right now under the Speedville Bridge to the carousel. So next time by will be the white flag. Tick-tock, tick-tock, time is going down. Marcus Hamilton, though, he seems to have enough of a gap, Jake, but anything could happen, especially when traffic comes afoot.
It certainly does, and looking down the road, SR Racing is there. Jurgen Frank also there. I don't think they'll catch Frank, but certainly San Rosamond they will certainly catch, and Hamilton will have to navigate that first 0.8 of a second a lap for Levesque to have that big opportunity, and he closed a second on that last lap, so he is doing enough in this situation. For Hamilton, he knows he's just got to get the traffic in the perfect position. The carousel, that's not too bad, having to take that outside line. It depends on where he catches, because he now tracks out wide, goes around the outside and takes that position. But in comparison for Levesque, he'll catch him on the exit of the corner, get all of that power, and will get him just before the kink, use all of it. White flag in the air, and 1 lap to go for Kei Kashubi.
Kei Kashubi, he has gone across the start-finish line. This is lap number 78 as he works his way through corner number 3. 78 laps ago, there was a major conflagration here, and he got away. Nobody has had the answers for Kei Kashubi, and he will look to secure his victory here in the Road America 500 with the Kamel Series here on iRacing Live and RaceSpotTV. Meanwhile, though, the battles for the podiums still going on. Frederick Evers will take the white flag here in GTP as here comes Frederick Evers, the team, and Marcus Hamilton, the driver. 153.3, great counter lap, as actually Marcus Hamilton was faster that last time by perhaps the fuel savings paid off. Hamilton now has the tow, but Lucas Yasnak, he is your leader in GTO. He has been leading for basically the entirety of this race. 8 laps, the difference between GTP and GTO. And here comes Lucas Yasnak down to the Corvette bridge. That MSP Racing Phoenix car basically unchallenged for the majority of the race, as Joyful Understeer and Joni Takkanen take the white flag here. They are looking to close this race off. And here comes, as one car goes off and is heavily damaged, Kei Kashubi looks to come through to finish out his laps here at Road America. He has only got a few corners to go. 13A, corner number 14. He's got an open track in front of him, and Kei Kashubi, all he needs to do is go up that massive hill to complete the 4-mile circuit. It will be Kei Kashubi, the lights flashing on his Nissan GTP ZX Turbo, and Kei Kashubi with the Heisenfeld Core Motorsports number 33 will take victory here at the Road America 500.
What a brilliant win it was for Kei Kashubi. Not over, though, in the battle for position number 2. Levesque close, but close will not be good enough for him. Rounding the final 2 corners, though, your GTO leader, Lucas Jedstad, unchallenged. Well, he was challenged in the early stages. A bit of good fortune in his favor with what happened with, I believe it was the team of Kamel Ayano, and it's going to be good. Battle for P2, though, just behind. Close camp, but no, it's not going to happen for Levesque.
It's not going to happen for Levesque, but Joyful Understeer has had an incident, which means that it will be, it should be Joni Takkanen taking position number 2 in the last lap, as I don't know what's happened with this car.
That was with Team Hoitzenfeld Cam. As I look at it, it's got no front, no rear, and where that's happened, I believe that's heading down to the hurry downs, and there was damage already on that machine of Hewitt.
Driving that.
And just trying to bring it home. It was just a case of catching the curb, and there was nothing that could have happened for Ove. And Ove, I'm sorry to say it, he's been robbed.
He has been absolutely robbed. That car had front suspension damage. Nothing really to lose here, as the car only had 2 positions to lose between Real Championship and Team Chimera. That car should have been, I think, pulled over to the side, because now the Ovgarden, the Trengarid car has been absolutely robbed here of that. But either way, though, coming across the start-finish line, I mean, an amazing battle, though, is Joni Takkanen. He will come home in position number 2. And the car of Ovgarden will be able to finish, however. I don't think... Oh, he's managed to... Oh, he's lost quite a few positions. Joyful Understeer will come home in position number 5.
Ouch. And that's the only thing you can say. And I think Ove is going to need a bit of a hug after that one. But MSP, 2 vehicles up on the podium. Exactly what they wanted, but last lap drama. You never want to see it. And for Hewitt, you can understand why he was bringing that vehicle home. He was on the last lap. The meatball, you don't actually have to serve cam, but with a vehicle in that state, you have to err on the side of caution. There wasn't enough caution taken by that driver.
No rear wing, no front bumper, suspension damage on the wheels. It just, it's ugly. But either way, looking at a couple of these cars, let's take a nice good look at Joni Takkanen. Well, we look through as he goes on his final patrol lap. Let's take a look at the overall finishing grid here at the Road America 500. After 78 laps, 2 hours and 31 minutes, a full 15 minutes faster than the race that was raced here in 1989. Heisenfeld Core Motorsports, which was just Kei Kashubi, will come home with the victory after that 2 hour 31 minute sprint. Frederick Evers will come home, the Frederick Evers team will come home in second with Marcus Hamilton. INX Racing, William Levesque, just 1 lap further as he'll come home, finishing out the GTP podium. Vendaval Sim Racing without a color, will be your car of the driver driving that one, I believe, was Fabrice Cornelius and Juan E. Lopez. I didn't see Matty Soja get into that vehicle, but either way, 4th position, only 4 cars finishing on your lead lap. Evolution Racing Teams 226. Gathering of Tweakers will finish in 6th. Pit Demons Orange will finish in 7th position. The Team Bushfink Racing Red will finish in 8th position. Real Championship number 13 in the 9th position. Team Chimera, oh, what could have been? They finished in 10th position. Team Heisenfeld, with their heavily damaged car, will finish the 2 laps down with the 11th position. G-Tross SST Orange in 12th. The SimRC.de Crimson in 13th. SimRC.de Cucumber in 14th. And all the way down, there were, I think, a grand total of 9 retirements in GTP. And we'll go through them at the end of this list. But Jake, you have the GTO finishers.
And it was dominance displayed by MSP Phoenix Racing 85 and Lucas Jedstad becoming one of the true talents in sim racing after a good victory. Joni Takinen, the jump to Coanda certainly helping him. 2nd place on the final lap. MSP Phoenix Racing 52 promoted up to 3rd with Gregory Tansen behind the wheel. Supersport Racing Gresham Wagner finishes 4th. Joyful Understeer were robbed at the very, very end on lap 78 of 78. And well, with that 5th position, 6th would go to Revolution Racing. Playing Ducks Racing Mythcom 3 would finish up 7th in class. Then you have Team Bear Pope, SR Racing, Hellenic Racing, MXS Racing Team 76, the BTRS Team Galicia, Talk Freak Racing Flatsharsh, Delta iRacing Team Bob Van Katwijk, then running into issues as we now hit the retirees, Cam.
Yeah, and it was a tough race, I'd have to say. Team Highball, I'd have to say, is your first true retirement, though the Camaleano car had a blown engine. Yoni Hagner was very, very quick. Unfortunately, it was not in the cards. They had to replace an engine. Going up even further, I believe it was the Delta iRacing team was your last finisher. Bob Van Katwijk had an incident. The Audi Sport Team Gebrauchtwagen came home in the 30th position, 21 laps down. Camaleano, Team Highball having that retirement. SimRC.de Cameltail will come home 33rd. Red Face Solo Racing, an incident. Pit Demons, 23 GTO, an incident. Team Jarvia will have retired. Team GT Fumo, the GTP car, the GTP of the Patronus, the GTP of Mad Cow Racing Memorial. We'll have to have a memorial barbecue for that Mad Cow Racing vehicle after that thing got toasted. Heisenfeld Core Motorsports, that GTP machine will finish in the 40th position, unlike its teammate, the number 99, and the number 66 Heisenfeld Core Motorsports will also not finish today. Lineal Loto Racing, Stars and Stripes, Dream Factory, Pray for Pablo, VAPEX Racing, Team 10-10-10, and I believe that is everyone that's managed to retire from this very heavily incident-filled race. I think you can't really look at this race without looking back at that turn 3 incident on lap 1, though.
No, I don't think you can. I think it was a massive incident. It was a game changer. It took 3 or 4 great drivers out of this field who could have challenged for a victory or a podium. But ultimately, though, that's racing. You can't really change exactly what's happened. But we've had some great battling. And, well, Cam, I believe that we have some drivers that we found down on pit road.
A couple of drivers coming out of the car. Let's take a look, though, at Kei Kashubi. Why not? He's got the victory here, so we'll go to Victory Lane live here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. It is the Road America 500. Somebody grab the door. There we go. Kei Kashubi coming into the booth with us now. Kei, you've had a very good race. It's only been 2 hours and 31 minutes, but it seemed like it was in your hands after that lap 1 incident.
Yeah, it was a really nice race. It was very difficult, and it was a shame that there were so many crashes early on, especially also to Alex a bit later when the lappings began. Yeah, it was really hard. Speed difference is really big, and yeah, but it was a nice race anyway.
These races are normally about 30 minutes in length. We added another 2 hours on it, and you're talking about how difficult it is. This Nissan GTP ZXT, it's a lot of power and a lot of ground effect, but this racing circuit seems to challenge all aspects of a machine. And I think we saw, with there only being 4 finishers on the lead lap, just how difficult it is to put together a good race, and you managed to do that as such. The pit stops were clean and the racing was clean.
Yeah, from the driving side, I have to say it was better than I expected. Normally I don't drive this car. I should do more often. It's really great, but the really difficult thing was really the multi-class aspect, the difference between the classes, and yeah, the way how this difference evolves through a turn, because on the exit the Audi is very fast, but from braking to apex there is a huge difference in speed, so sometimes it was difficult to judge. So yeah, sorry to everyone, I caused trouble.
Yeah, either way though, this is kind of the first big event that we've really had with these Kamel GT cars. Overall though, I mean, it's difficult when you got a 15-second a lap difference here. These cars, they seem to have a pretty cult following. When you mix in drivers that might be driving this stuff for the first time, sometimes it ends well, sometimes it doesn't. But you know what? We had 4 full splits, 47 cars here today. I mean, I think at the very least people will start to learn just how fun it is to drive these vehicles.
Yeah, indeed. I'm already looking forward to the race next year if there is one. We should really drive these cars more often. They are so much fun. I drove the Audi as well, but the Nissan is, from my side, even better. So yeah, it was just a great event from my side.
Yeah, and I will say, I don't have pretty much any say at all. I don't even have any say here in this room, but if I ever manage to find my my way in front of that big whiteboard with the in progress events for next year, I'm going to try to put at least one Kamel GT race in there, because I have to say this was a good time despite the incidents. But Kay, is there anybody you would like to give a shout out to or thank before we let you go rest up?
Yeah, thank you. Of course, thank you to the team, especially to our supporters, Heusingfeld Engineering and VTech. It's really great, and also congratulations to everyone who finished, and Lucas who finished first in the Audi class. Thank you.
That's Kay Kashubi, of course. The number 33 Heisenfeld Core Motorsports car came here with a 3-car effort. 2 retirements, 1, however, is in victory lane. Kay, thanks so very much for hopping in with us.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And next we are going to go with Jake Sperry. He is going to be alongside Lucas Jastak and Gregory Tansen. Might as well bring them in together. But either way, we'll probably start with Lucas Jastak. But Jake, take it away.
Yeah, certainly. I found both of the MSP Phoenix Racing drivers, P1 and P3 in GTO categories. Lucas, I'll come to you first on this because your day was quite plain sailing, we'd say, but the early stages you found yourself in a very, very difficult battle with the Camilliano team, with drivers like Joni Hagner there, part of the fragment, shall we say, of Glacier Racing. How difficult was it in the early stages, especially with the sheer volume of traffic that was trying to make its way through?
Yeah, you're right. It was very difficult in the first stages of the race. I had as you say, I had a great battle with Joni. It's a shame that they, I don't know what happened, but I think they had a collision with the GTP car. So that's a shame. It was a great race for the first hour, lots of adrenaline, and after that, yeah, bit more easy. But with this car, you have to stay awake. It's not easy to drive it for 2 hours without a mistake. So I settled down a bit. Maybe I could have gone a bit faster, but I think was enough today, and really happy with the result.
You certainly have to be, especially with the fact that you got yourself a victory by such a margin, over 45 seconds between where you were at the start and where you were at the end of the race. Were you feeling that maybe that you had the ability to tone down, that maybe mistakes were going to be less of a factor if you just took your foot off the throttle a little bit, or were you thinking about going flat out from where you were to the end of the event?
Yeah, it's not so easy for me. I always find myself making small mistakes when I say, okay, now I can calm down a bit and go a bit slower to a 3/10 per lap. Then I find myself making mistakes. So just keep pushing, nothing risky, and it went well. I can't complain today.
You certainly can't. And well, Gregory, I'm going to come to you now because you had yourself a great battle up and down the field, especially with the super sport racing machine of Gresham Wagner. So for yourself, you certainly had yourself a lovely day of racing, shall we say?
Yes, it was really, really fun. Great racing. It was really, really close at the end. He was almost identical at the identical pace like me. When I made a mistake, he made a mistake. When I got a fast lap, he got a fast lap, and it was really great until the end. And I have to say, this event overall, it was a great event. It was really, really fun. The car is absolutely blast to the drive, and yeah, I think it was a really, really great day also for MSP Phoenix Racing, P1 and P3. I'd like to see that more often in the future.
I'm certainly sure that there are a lot of opportunities, but Gregory, on that final lap, you were looking at maybe position number 4, the final lap. That threw up a few surprises of what happened to the joyful understeer team. No understeer in their sense. They got unfortunately taken out, but P3 to inherit it, to get yourself 2 vehicles on the podium, that's got to make your sponsors very happy.
Yes, of course. We didn't expect this result. And yeah, sure, it was a bit lucky that I got the P3 at the end. I didn't know until my teammate, my spotter, told me so. That was really funny. I thought I was P4, and then, surprise, I was P3. Yeah, that was really great. I want to thank the team for this great support, and also my teammate, who deserved this win. He is such a great driver, such a great friend, and yeah, he deserved this one.
Certainly.
Thanks.
Well, flattery of being very, very useful here between 2 very good teammates. But before we let you 2 guys go, any shout-outs you'd like to give? Any thank yous?
I would like to thank all of my teammates, as Gregory said, and our sponsors, iArt mainly, and the real what do I say? The real Phoenix Racing team, who raced today at Zandvoort and at the VLN. Great results there too. So big shout out to them. Great guys.
Pretty much all that needs to be said. Lucas Jedstad, a race victory. Gregory Tansen, a position number 3. And Phoenix Racing, well, they've certainly been reborn over this last year, Cam. They have got themselves a monumental result in the world of sim racing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the very first time that we've had a Kamel GT Series event here on the iRacing World Tour. And I gotta say, man, was this entertaining. I wish, of course, we didn't have that early incident. I think I wish we could have perhaps not had as many incidents. But you know what? This is a specialist's car, and as shown by just who came away with the victories, very, very good drivers that definitely know their way around any automobile. But either way, I believe, Jake, that this is probably going to be it for us from the Road America circuit. We'll probably get that music queued on up, and we'll probably start saying our goodbyes. But Jake, anything you think this whole race, first time Kamel GT Series, Road America, great track, great series, and some great battling.
Oh, it certainly was. You can't ask for anything better than what we've seen today. Although the battles for the race lead were very formulaic towards the end, we had great drama throughout the field from first minute to last. And, well, you can't argue for anything more. And tomorrow, well, there's going to be at least one more race that's going to be there. And that will be, of course, the iRacing Grand Prix Series happening from Phillip Island.
Absolutely. And so we'll just start running through it. RaceSpotTV is, of course, the production that is bringing this to you on iRacing Live, the iRacing.com YouTube page. Of course, catch all of your great action on iRacing Live. Myself, Cam Walsh, Jake Sperry, next to me, Paul Smith, bringing us all of the action, the cameras, the replays, all of the good stuff. Istvan Balo with the camera designs, Andwern Design with the graphics package, and ATVO with the Actioneer. bringing us, allowing us to have such great overlays. This has been, of course, a RaceSpotTV production. Thanks for making us part of your day, wherever you may be or whenever you may be listening to us. So, from Road America, it's the 1989 vehicles, and boy, did they put on a show. Well, thank you, and we will see you all next time, whenever that may be. So, from Road America for the World Tour iRacing Series, the Road America 500 comes to a final conclusion. We bid you all farewell, and so long for now.